All right, call to order. The special board meeting of the Governing Board of Education is called to order by myself, Dr. Melinda Anderson, at 5 p.m. on Monday, July 21st, 2025 at the District Conference Center. And then I noticed a lot of people might have missed the written board president's comments. I'm going to start with those.
Point of order. President Anderson, I'm calling on you to be formally recognized to discuss procedural issues with a preliminary comment.
What do you want? Do you want to make a motion, or do you want to not allow me to
I have a request that I would like to read.
Okay, is it a motion or a request regarding the agenda?
It will be a request followed by a motion.
Okay, I need a second. So you're motioning to?
I'm asking for the request first, and that's that the board defer this statement until after the agenda approval, allowing for public comment and trustee input as required by the Brown Act. This ensures a fair and transparent process from the outset, and as a trustee deeply affected by the content, this could be viewed as manipulation before we approve the agenda. So my motion is to move your comment inside of the actual agenda.
Okay, I'll second that. Any comment? So do you want to let me first? Do we have anyone that opposes? We want to move it just to after the approval of the agenda?
Fine with me.
Okay. Anyone? All right. Then the consensus is we'll move it to after the approval of the agenda. Is that okay, everyone? All right.
That would mean it's an action item that can be discussed both by the public here and we as trustees.
No, it's not an action item. It's board president comments, and then at the end of the meeting, there's general board comments. So these are just the comments that I normally don't give president comments, but I just wanted to let people know where this agenda was headed.
But if you look at prior agendas like the one for tomorrow night, there's no way for the public to see it prior like you've done it tonight. So I just want to be sure that as a trustee, I have the ability to talk to it, because as you're preemptively talking about the goals for this evening, I should be able to address it as an actual agenda item in addition to other colleagues here at the dais.
Okay, so let me just ask, I just wanted to give I wanted to do my president's statement, let people know where we were headed with the meeting. So are you okay with that?
I want you to elaborate a little bit.
Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not following you.
You don't want, so you want to talk about the board member comments. Is that what you're saying? You want to comment about my comments before I give my comments? I don't understand what you're saying.
I would like for you to give your comments, but then have the ability to address it as a trustee, as should anyone else here, as should the audience. This is an item that was sent out preliminarily in the agenda, which was outside of best practices, and you've had the ability to already gather public sentiment and opinions. I respect the fact that you want to read through it. I don't have a problem with that. But before we move on, I would indeed like to speak to it. Each colleague should have that opportunity, as well as the people here to listen to this meeting tonight. If you feel like you need to call and talk to legal to ask, I respect that. But I think that is the best way to move forward with your comment.
Well, would you be okay if I just moved them to the very end and used them as my general board comments?
Yeah, that's
Let's
a great
just move
idea.
them.
If you'd like to do that,
Yeah,
I think that that's acceptable.
Because people can read them if they want to. Okay, so we're going to move those. I'll just give those comments at the very end. And the next is the approval of the agenda. Do I have any requests for changes to the agenda?
2 requests.
Okay.
I want to move my board comments to the next to the last at the meeting. So right before yours, I would like to make my board comments at that time.
Do you want to
I'm
go?
making a motion to move my board comments to the end of the meeting right before your comments.
You want to be the last, do you want to just be the last one and I'll be the
Next to last.
second one?
No, that's fine. Next to last is fine.
And so I would respectfully object to that.
Well, I made a motion, so can we get a second or not, and then we'll move on?
I second.
Okay, Lene?
I don't care if you want to move yours to
Okay.
second to last.
Lene?
Do you want to call, well,
Please.
do we need a,
Yeah,
Dr.
we
Woods,
should
do we
vote.
need just
I
call?
think-
Yeah, we
Call
should vote.
roll.
Are we able
I
to do
think-
this outside the agenda approval?
Well, he wants to move his public comments to the second to last.
Honestly, it's more appropriate to do it during board comments, and right then and there, we
Okay,
get a
let's do it
consensus.
at the very end.
That's just
So we'll
easily
make
settled
that-
right there.
We'll make
Okay,
that change
I-
at the very end, that's okay, and
Have another
then,
change to the agenda.
okay, what was your other change?
I'm going to remove action item 6 from the agenda and table it.
Okay, so tabling it means, do we have any discussion about
Yes.
removing?
Can I
Yeah.
give my reasons?
Okay, so we have a
Thank you.
second, now talk about it.
I initially brought forward the motion to censure because I believed it was important to address conduct that, in my view, undermines the values and responsibilities of this board. However, upon further reflection, I've decided to withdraw the item, not because the behavior has become acceptable, but because it's become clear that proceeding with a formal censure could unintentionally shift focus away from the real issues and potentially serve the interests of the very person whose conduct is in question. Our goal should always be accountability, not theatrics. I remain committed to holding all members, including myself, to high standards, and I will continue to advocate for responsible, ethical board leadership in other ways. To be clear, this is not about individuals. It's about reaffirming the values we expect all members to follow. While the board recognizes that public accountability is important, we also understand that dramatizing this process serves no one, least of all the public we're here to serve. Our priority is to maintain focus on effective governance, not to provide a platform for deflection or theatrics. That said, this does not mean we condone the behavior. We will continue to address it through appropriate channels and remain committed to accountability. Sometimes the most effective form of accountability isn't the loudest one. We'll be monitoring the situation and documenting behavior carefully. Should formal action become necessary or constructive in the future, I will revisit that option. I have not ruled out civil litigation with my attorney. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second. Is there any to postpone definitely the formal censure? Lene,
I want to talk.
you would like to make a
I do.
comment?
I want to make a statement.
But the statement has to be regarding whether or not we're going to postpone or not postpone.
I got you. So for me, this is about accountability for each and every board member, now and in the future. And it is about maintaining the behavioral ethics and integrity of this board as a unit that serves the best interest of the stakeholders of TVUSD before they serve their own personal interests. Making personal accusations against other board members on a civil matter in an open forum, engaging in conduct against the advice of legal representation, putting fellow board members and community members in difficult positions. This is not acceptable for an elected official on the TVUSD board. A board member here threatened the district, and the threats escalated, forcing a third-party investigation, which later said board member put off and continuously postponed for weeks until a motion was made to ensure participatory compliance. Instead of having a special meeting to
Mr.
address...
Barham?
I'm getting there.
I just need to remind you, it has to do with whether or not we're going to
I am
postpone
getting
this.
this. I'm getting there.
I would
Instead-
have to say another point of order would be
Yeah,
called.
point of
I think
order.
what we're doing now is well outside the bounds of what's
I-
proper protocol, and I'd like the record to officially recognize
Okay.
that.
So, Mr.
There are
Barham,
yeah, what
I
is outli-
cannot, I can't
There
allow you
are
to
individ-
continue, Mr.
Okay,
Barnes.
I'm going to just say my statement. I'll be done.
Save it
I'm-
till the end. It has to be
Okay,
related
all
to,
right.
are we going to postpone the censure or are we not going to postpone
Okay,
the
let's
censure?
vote.
Okay, Lene?
Schwartz,
Yes.
Wiersma,
Yes.
Komorowski,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes. So the motion to censure has been removed. Is
I'd like
there-
to make a motion to move public comments to after the Pledge of Allegiance.
So, Jen, this is, you've been a board president before. In a special meeting, there's not general public comments, that the comments have to be specific to each agenda item. Do you want me to pull it up and read it from the Brown Act? So each,
No, but this brings up a good conversation. Are you going to cluster all comments at the end of the action items, or you're going to let each action item have at least 30 minutes of public comments?
I'm going to follow the Brown Act that says that each action item has 30 minutes of public comments. Part of what I was going to ask is, I have gotten a lot of feedback, and there's a lot of confusion about the action items, and I was going to ask the board if we could discuss the matter so that the public has a better idea of where we're headed with these action items, and then have the public make comments before the board takes any action. So would you guys be open to discussion before public comments? Because I think it'll save a lot of people making comments that aren't relevant, and it can help them narrow in the focus of what we're talking about.
So I have a comment about that, and I believe that would not be the ethical way to proceed forward. This agenda has been misrepresented to the public because comments on individual action items need to be heard. And publishing this agenda with them at the end, I know, has already served as a deterrent for people who want to come. The public deserves the opportunity to weigh in on each individual item and be heard before we then decide to
order.
collaborate
Point of
together
order.
as a board.
Point
Yeah,
of order,
point of order.
please.
Okay, let me just read this. It
This is
says,
exactly what she said.
wait, look.
She's going to let each person talk about each of the
Let me
items
just
on
read.
the agenda.
Wait,
But that's
stop,
not how it's
stop.
represented
No, no,
on the
no.
published agenda.
It says okay, just listen. It says in
She
the,
clarified, I'm good with it.
let me just say what it says, just so you understand. For special board meetings, public comments are restricted to only items listed on the special meeting agenda. Public comments are allowed up to a maximum of 3 minutes per comment in the order received, to a maximum of 30 minutes per item for comments on agenda items or non, why does it say or non-agenda items? I'm sorry, it's just one. Okay, it says or non-agenda items, but it has to be for special board meetings. It can only be on the agenda items. So you have the consent and whatnot.
Can I have Lene pull up the item H real quick, just to clarify? That's why I asked to move this,
Yeah,
because
it's
that
special
was
board meeting.
confusing. Yeah, where she clicked it. That was confusing. That read to me like you're not going to allow comments on each action item until they've already been voted in. So that's why I was like, let's move it all front. But I get it. You've
Oh, yeah,
clarified
I'm with
it.
you, like,
All right.
and we knew this was confusing, so I talked to Lene on the phone, when did I talk to you? This morning? And our agreement was, let's tell everyone as they walk in that they need to make sure they select a specific item. So some of you may have been approached because we foresaw the confusion, and we approached you individually and said, make sure that you filled out the form correctly, and you're only allowed to speak on action items at a special board meeting. There's no general public, and that's just the Brown Act. So we're just going to go by what the Brown Act says.
The problem is, in the February workshop, I believe the same mistake was made, and we talked about it as a board. The problem is you don't ever want to disenfranchise constituents looking at
Okay.
the agenda and thinking they have to wait. So I'm glad you've clarified it.
What
I
do you
believe
want
we're
to do?
moving in
So
the
just
right
tell
direction.
me, what do you want to do?
From my understanding
Do you
with
wanna
what you've shared is
have-
that they will have the opportunity to speak before each agenda item. I agree
then we'll
with that.
vote on
I
it.
think that's a good way to move forward for them and for us.
Okay, and Lene, if there was confusion, we had staff clarifying that, and I should have had them explain it to you as well. So my question is, I think it would be beneficial for the public to hear our comments, then for them to give their comments, and then we vote. We want to hear the public before we take action, but because I've received so much feedback and confusion about what does this mean, what's going on, I think it'd be nice if we kind of discussed it ahead of time, but we won't take action until we hear everyone. And what are your thoughts on that?
In my
Are you
opinion,
okay?
with best practices, I've never seen that done. We've always allowed the public specifically to speak prior to the item. Dr. Komrosky, would you concur with that?
I'd like the public to speak first, then we morally deliberate, then we take
That
action.
is correct, because we are here as elected officials representing the people. We need to hear them first, then we deliberate,
Point of
then we
order,
make
I
a
want
discussion.
everyone, okay, point of order. I want everyone to be quiet. I would have said that ahead of time in my president's comments, but they want me to say it at the end, but I'm going to say be quiet at the very end. And be respectful. That's my comments. Please be respectful. We're going to take a board consensus because we can change the agenda with the board consensus. So I think it would be beneficial for the public if they got some feedback about what does it mean on the agenda, why did we put this here? I make a motion to first discuss it, then have public comment, and then take action. Do I have second?
Second.
Lene, call roll.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Wiersma,
No, it's backwards thinking.
Komrosky,
No.
Barham.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes. So we're going to just, it's just an idea. Are there any other changes to the agenda right now? Okay, so far, yeah, one item is pulled. I move to approve the agenda with item number 6 being pulled, and then discussion, public comment, and vote.
Second.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Lene?
Schwartz.
Yes.
Wiersma,
I'm sorry, could you repeat what?
We
The ask
we
was-
pulled censure, and then we just said that we're going to do discussion, public comment, and vote. And that was already approved, so that's how we're approving the agenda. Do you want to approve the agenda?
I do not.
Okay.
Komrosky,
No.
Barham,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes. So the motion passes 3-2. Next is the open session business meeting. In attendance this afternoon are Governing Board, Dr. Melinda Anderson, Mr. Emil Barham, Dr. Joseph Komrosky, Mr. Stephen Schwartz, and Mrs. Jennifer Wiersma. We also have Secretary to the Board, Dr. Gary Woods. We'll now have the Pledge of
Can I
Allegiance.
ask one of our military in the audience to lead the pledge?
Yeah, is the board okay if we have some,
100%.
do you want someone in the
David?
military? All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, David.
Okay, we now have action items. And the other thing I read in the Brown Act is once we start with an action item, we will not be taking public comment on that item. So we're starting with number 1. So how many comments do you have? We have 11, and then we'll get to those after discussion. To discuss this or make the motion and second it and then discuss it? Okay. So I have should I make the motion and Dr. Woods? Okay, I'll make the motion and we'll discuss it. I move that the Board of Education direct the board president to submit a formal complaint to the FPPC regarding potential violations of the Political Reform Act by member Jen Wiersma, including but not limited to the misuse of public resources, misleading public statements, and potential conflict of interest provisions under Government Code 8710. Supporting documentation, including unredacted third-party investigation report and related materials, shall be included in this complaint. So The reason I put all of these on the agenda is because this matter has been deemed to be a civil matter outside the jurisdiction of the district. And we have some board members that believe that the district still needs to be responsible for it and involved. And there's also questioning the integrity of the investigation. So I came up with did some research, and outside of the district, these are the only non-cost things I could come up with. So the letter to the FPPC was the first thing that I came across. I want to start by talking about the misuse of public resources, and then I'm going to give my opinion about sending a letter to the FPPC.
You made a motion, I didn't hear a second.
Oh, was there a second?
Second.
Okay. So there's the motion and a second. So thank you, Dr. Woods. So to clarify, I wanted just to clarify with the public why this is a civil matter. And it was brought to my attention on November of 2023. We had something very similar happen with the previous board before I was even president. There were several complaints against a board member brought by district staff. And legal counsel was called in. So there was a Zoom member, there was a Zoom meeting, a board member, an attorney, and then two of the district, a cabinet member, and then another person. And at that time, the attorney discussed with the district that when there is a complaint against a school board member, the district has no jurisdiction. And that board member was informed not to engage with the district, and at this time has never addressed the numerous complaints that have been made against that board member. And that was at the advice of their legal. So that was November 2023. So the previous board is the one that set the precedence that the district, that any complaints against board members is outside the jurisdiction. And these complaints happened on school property and within the, what's the term I'm looking for?
School day?
No, it was while the board member was officially doing their duties. What's the term?
Their official duties.
Yeah, like they were on school property, official duties. It was during working business hours, and so at that time, the previous board determined. This is before I was board president. The previous board determined that when there's a complaint against a board member, it's outside the jurisdiction of the district.
And I think it's important that we recognize that those were UCP complaints.
Okay.
There were about 20 of them.
Yeah. And then, so now let's fast forward. And the scenario has changed. Now we have board member against board member, not on school property, and after hours. When we brought this to the attorneys and we talked to all three firms that we work with, the consensus is this is a civil matter and this is outside the jurisdiction of the district. And that was clearly stated and expressed beginning January 27th, 28 is when I got the email from General Counsel, and that we've tried to follow what the previous board set, and that this is outside the jurisdiction of the school district. That being said, attorneys have been used for the last few months for personal use to hash this out amongst board members. And so my question is, as a board, do we believe that there has been a misuse of public resources and funds? And I'm going to give my opinion on referring this to the FPPC.
How long do you get to talk, and then how are we divvying up time for other board members so I can speak to this?
I'll let you speak to it. How much time? You guys call it.
I think she
Am I out
probably
of time?
extended 2 minutes right there. I don't know if there's a timer, but I want to be sure there's some balance.
Usually it's 3 minutes to introduce something.
Okay.
So you're introducing it, though.
So I'm introducing it, and I'll just briefly give my opinion because I'm actually, it's funny how like a blessing in disguise. I have my own FPPC investigation going on, and the investigator is actually quite friendly and helpful, and she has given me feedback, and we can refer this to the FPPC, but it would have to show that the board member was using it for campaign purposes. And although the attorneys at the FPPC are going to side with this being campaign. So I think there's like a 2% chance that they would pick this up and investigate it. So why did I put it on the agenda? Because I want to put this to bed, and I just came up with whatever options I could find out in the universe to address it. And the FPPC was one, but if we vote on it, I just want you to know there's a very low chance that they would pick this up and investigate it, because we'd have to tie it to campaigning, and I just don't feel like it would. We'd have to get so creative, and I actually don't feel like this was campaigning. I think it was bad faith, but not.
Let Mrs. Wiersma speak.
Okay, so that's my opinion about that. I don't think they'll pick it up, but that was just an idea. So what's your thoughts?
Here are my thoughts on this specific case. This was not a personal grievance. Under California Ed Code Section 234.1, I had a right to file a uniform complaint
Wait.
as a result of the incident
Okay.
occurring in my official capacity as a trustee at the California School Board Association Convention. Title IX supports the fact that the district has an obligation to investigate a UCP. Further, California Ed Code Section 220 prohibits retaliation. Notably, my number one ask for a remedy on the official complaint, which is here, was a meeting with Melinda and Mr. Schwartz facilitated by Dr. Woods and Mr. Marble, the Title IX coordinator. That never occurred. In reference to the FPCC, I want to thank you for putting this agenda together, because I've learned so much in the process, and I've done my own homework. So in speaking to this, here's one thing to consider. Under the Political Reform Act, if my male colleague, the respondent, was motivated by personal gain, such as clearing his name, using a social media post to smear mine, it could actually fall under Government Code 87103 and be a misuse of office. The FPPC could investigate whether this decision breached ethical standards, especially given the report's cost to taxpayers. This actually aligns with the FPPC's conflict of interest mandate, as it involves a public official's decision-making process. The respondent's post, which he made on an official TVUSD channel and misrepresenting the report to smear another colleague and demand an apology, could be seen as using his trustee position for personal gain. It could be bad faith. It could be something that they would look into, and it might trigger FPPC scrutiny under Government Code 87100.
Time. Does anyone, please keep your comments to FPPC. Yours were appropriate, thank you. Like I said, I've been talking to an investigator, and but I'm more than happy to submit this to the FPPC if that's what you want. I'm going to tell you I'm like, you would probably vote to submit it to the FPPC for reimbursement? I mean, all they're going to do is look at it, and I think they're just going to send it back to us, but I have no problem submitting the full investigation as worded in the motion to the FPPC for review.
I think it's time to return to board business.
So, okay. Point of order. Okay. Is there any other comments? Okay, then let's go on to
We do have.
general.
We do
You have a comment?
Yes, and I
Okay.
think Steve did too.
Did you have a comment?
Maybe.
Sorry, I'm looking this way, so.
Depends on what,
Just an honest
Dr.
question.
Komrosky, you
says.
go first, and then
maybe,
Steve.
I'm not sure.
And, yeah,
Just an honest question. Why did you agendize this if you knew that it was highly unlikely for the FPPC to take this? Did you discover that after you agendized it, or did you know before?
I was just looking up I'm looking for like free ways we can resolve this without bringing the district in. So I knew that Jen feels pretty confident that the FPPC would look at it. I can't say 100% they wouldn't because we haven't filed. So we could file and just see where it goes from there. My gut feeling after reading the website and talking to the investigator is that they wouldn't, but they could. And I mean, if you guys want to do that, we can just package it all together. So whatever the board, whatever direction you guys want to go. Do you have any comments or questions,
That was it.
Mr. Schwartz?
I think it's time to hear from the public.
Okay, so we have 11 comments, and I'm going to be very firm that these comments can only be related to referring the matter to the FPPC. And I want to tell everyone here, even though I have to say it at the very end, this is not a trial, and we are not judges. The public is not the jury. No one is on trial here, and this is not going to turn into a public trial. So I want everyone to respect that. We're just trying to come up with a way to resolve this matter. If your comments aren't related to the FPPC, then I will call. You will be given one warning, and then you will be removed. And just please be respectful of the agenda and be respectful of the person that you're here to support. That these
Not removed, but asked to sit down.
no, we've already talked to security. They'll be removed. So, who is the first? What was that? You have to give them a warning. Yes, after the first warning, they will be removed. I'm not going to shut down free speech, but you need to keep your comments. In a special board meeting, your comments need to be related to the item that we are talking about. So it needs to be about the FPPC. And whether or not it's a good, like, should we refer it to the FPPC or not? What I'm not wanting is for people to come up and accuse either board member of lying, bad behavior. That's not the purpose of this meeting, and we're not going to accuse each other back and forth.
That is free speech.
That is not.
It is free speech.
Point of
You
order.
cannot shut
Point
down
of-
free speech.
No, you
Point
I
of
just
order.
point of ordered you. That
Dr.
is a point of
Komrosky,
order.
you were a board president. You know, at a special
That
board
is
meeting,
free
there is
speech.
no general.
You cannot shut down free speech.
You want people
That
to
is their
come up
First
and
Amendment
trash
right.
talk the board? It's
That is
actually-
their First Amendment right.
Do you want me to call the attorney real quick?
Are you afraid of being criticized? That is what is that issue,
I'm
I
not
believe.
afraid of being criticized.
Good, then
Okay,
let him
point of
speak.
order, point of order. Wait, we're going to take a recess right now, 5-minute recess. 5-minute recess. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Steve, we need a 5-second recess. A 5-minute recess? 5-minute recess. Okay, to clarify, we double checked, and the Brown Act says you have to stay on topic. It's not a freedom of speech thing, it's a Brown Act thing. So the next is, I will warn you, you'll be removed from the pulpit, not from the room. You'll be asked to sit back down. Unless you're being incredibly disruptive, then we'll let the security handle it. Who is the first speaker, Lene?
David Sola, followed by Jennifer San Nicolas.
Good evening, board members, staff, familiar faces, and the plethora of unfamiliar ones. I've come up here dozens of times to ask you to do one thing and one thing only, just to take care of our children.
No.
I do the same tonight. The vote to refer this matter to state and county authorities is not just appropriate, it's necessary.
This
Is the FPPC not a state authority?
Okay, go. Thanks. Keep going. Keep going.
Thank you. It's necessary. As the action item explains, the district has already spent nearly $40,000 responding to a personal dispute initiated by Mrs. Wiersma that an independent investigation found to be both unsubstantiated and made in bad faith. That's $40,000 taken from our classrooms and our students, used instead on legal fees, administrative burden, and political theater. Again, how many times are we going to go and watch her do this? Until the general fund is depleted? Let's be clear, this is not the first time that this has happened, where public resources have been treated like their own to manipulate. It's all for campaign purposes, after all, regardless of the 2% chance that you think it is. This is being done to promote Mrs. Wiersma's campaign and to sabotage Mr. Schwartz's future campaigns. Let's be clear. Voting against the Melrose proposal, despite knowing our schools face aging infrastructure and reduced state funding.
Point of order.
Okay. That's not fiscal conservatism. It's sabotage disguised as ideology, all in the name of getting elected. She campaigns on student success and safety, yet her actions tell a different story.
Point of order.
Is a
Sorry.
campaign not a part of the FPPC's responsibilities?
Keep going.
I'm asking for a little bit of latitude as I am trying to stay on topic and you keep interrupting me. Thank you. Campaigning on student success and safety and actions telling a different story, obstructing critical revenue resources, creating legal liabilities, and promoting exclusionary policies that put vulnerable students at risk. This board is doing the right thing by stepping this to the FPPC. Every trustee has been directly named or involved in this investigation, so no one sitting up here can claim true impartiality. Any attempt to impose consequences ourselves would undermine public trust even further. That's why sending this matter to the state superintendent and the county office of education is not just a procedural step. It's an act of accountability. Let them review this behavior and let them determine what consequences are warranted, if any. And if not, let's move on and get back to just taking care of the kids. Stop saying it and actually do it. Every meeting, we say the same thing. Let's move on, let's move on. Stop saying it, just do it.
Thank you. Next.
Jennifer San Nicolas, followed by Greg Langworthy.
Good afternoon. Having read the entire report from the investigator, I have to concur with Board President Dr. Anderson, that the board should vote to submit a formal complaint to the FPPC. Mrs. Wiersma clearly acted with ill intent and tried to go full Regina George on Mr. Schwartz, and this is not a district issue. As if tarnishing his reputation isn't enough, she wasted taxpayer resources that she took an oath to be a steward of. You broke that oath, Mrs. Wiersma, in a quest for vengeance. That isn't your money, that is our money. $40,000 could fund a lot. As a former PTA president, I can tell you what that $40,000 could fund, but I don't have all night. I know Dr. Anderson said that the FPPC might not pick this up, but the important thing is it will be on record. With this pattern of behavior exhibited by Mrs. Wiersma over the years, a paper trail is beyond necessary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg Langworthy, followed by Jason Craig.
Mr. Langworthy?
Greg Langworthy, followed by Jason Craig.
So I just have a brief comment. The letters, can you hear me? Yep, the letters that, to the California Fair Practice Commission and the rest of the action items are to attempt to get a third party involved in making a judgment. And then the only comment I would make is, of course, you got to give the investigator's report. But also, now you've got new information that just came in. Of course, we all are aware of the Valley News article. That's information that also should be.
Point of order.
Go
Yep.
ahead.
That's just information that also the FPPC should consider.
They
Since they're going to be considering the investigator's report, shouldn't they also consider the veracity of this piece of the puzzle? And that allows them to make the determination on all these things. And you guys are kind of off the hook for having to make that judgment. That seems to be a fair way to resolve this new piece of information. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Langworthy.
Jason Craig, followed by Ginny Sharp.
Yeah, so I would like to specifically address this action item first and foremost to acknowledge that the sworn statement detailed in my notarized affidavit suggests that the investigative report,
Point of
which
order.
is used to write this agenda item, arrived at a conclusion without respect to truthful events I can personally attest to.
Point of order.
I have prepared copies of my statement to each
Point
of you
of
for
order.
review.
Okay.
Cut his mic.
Okay. No, it's about, do we want to refer this to the FPPC?
Wait a minute, his mic's not on, and there has to be consistency in the way you apply the standards. 3 minutes gives a person time to get to the exact agenda item.
Hey, I called point of order how many times on Mr. Sola? How many times am I calling point of order on everyone? I want you guys all, I don't care if you're liberal or conservative, stay on the FPPC topic. Like, I'm being fair. How many times did I just say point of order to the less conservative person? I want people to stay on topic. Should we refer this to the FPPC or not? Like, that's it.
Dr. Anderson, with all due respect.
Can you
just
read the for me,
your
for everyone,
rationale
please?
From your FPPC. It is on order.
Okay.
Please read the rationale if you want to debate me. Okay. If we are using acting in good faith, which you mentioned in your rationale, Dr. Anderson, which is referenced there, it should also be extended and applied to you, as per my testimony, has lied to the investigator in bad faith, specifically regarding the denial of hearing Mr. Schwartz's statement. The misuse of legal counsel should technically fall upon the board president,
Point of
Dr.
order.
Anderson.
I'm not on trial. I'm not, like, point of order. It's the
You wrote,
FPPC.
did you not write the agenda, Dr. Anderson?
I'm letting you know the FPPC isn't going to investigate me. I'm like a witness.
No.
Point of order,
I'm a
Dr.
witness,
Anderson.
like,
Dr. Anderson, have him sit
point
down.
of order, because I said we're not going to try this investigation over again here.
Okay.
This is, do we want to refer it or not? And it looks like the consensus is we're going to have you sit down because I gave you about 3 warnings.
I think that walks into dangerous
Who's the
territory
next?
with infringing upon his right to speak.
It violates his First
Who's the
Amendment.
next public speaker?
It's a violation of
Jenny
his First
Sharp,
Amendment.
followed by Bob Cow.
Okay. All right. We ready? Okay. Good evening. First, Mr. Schwartz, I applaud you for your decision to focus on students and the business of the board. I do, though, absolutely understand the desire for public accountability. So I do think this makes an FPPC issue. I literally just said FPPC. Can you not hear? Jesus.
Do we
I'll-
need another 5-minute recess?
Seriously, like I said, FPPC.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so can I get my time? Okay. So sending this to FPPC is absolutely appropriate. Once again, board member Wiersma's antics and her personal use of taxpayer funds, which is why the FPPC should be on board, is to the detriment of TVUSD students and staff. I applaud this board for finally holding her accountable, particularly financially. And I encourage you to do whatever it takes, including referring this matter to the FPPC. Jen, let's be honest about harassment and victimhood without rewriting history. As an educator, I endured years of repeated harassment from both.
Now I'm calling point of order.
I'll skip.
Okay, thank you.
That's fine.
Do you guys want another 5-minute recess? Just let me call point of order. Okay.
Let me just go down here. Okay.
Don't pause.
She's only here for herself and her own political agenda, including her 2026 campaign, which should not be funded using TVUSD's precious resources, which are meant to support the education for this children's community. Mr. Schwartz, I'm so sorry you had to go through this. I, for one, know exactly what it's like to be lied about by and slandered by her, and the harm those lies can cost to this community. In fact, one of her avid supporters just published lies about us in various newspapers this week.
Now I'm going to call point of order.
Okay, point of order.
Okay. No, I need you to sit down. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Bob Cal.
Okay, I just a minute. I just want people to know, this motion is, we're talking about, was there a misuse of public resources for campaign purposes that will go to the FPPC? I am not on trial, I'm a witness. So if you come up here talking about witnesses, it has nothing to do with the misuse of public funds. Like, I'm a witness, like Dr. Komrosky is a witness in the investigation. So if you're gonna come up and talk about witnesses in the investigation, we're not talking about the investigation. I made it very clear that in 2023, the district said this needs to be outside of the jurisdiction of the district. It was brought in, and we're trying to figure out, should this have remained outside the jurisdiction of the district, and was there a misuse of funds for campaign purposes? That's what the FPPC would investigate. So we're not going to retry the investigation, and the witnesses have nothing to do with the misuse of public funds. There's 10 witnesses. I'm just one of 9, okay?
A witness means you saw or heard something. I didn't. Please don't include me into that testimony of yours.
Well, my testimony is the same as your testimony.
I never said I was a witness. You did.
There's 10.
Just
Stop.
forget it.
Mr. Cowell, please go.
Yeah, the FPPC can be put into this the conflict of interest mandate. It involves a public official, and that public official is Schwartz. So Schwartz should be put before the FPPC. The social media post misrepresenting the report to smear Jen and demand an apology could be seen as using his trustee position for personal vindication. If this involved undisclosed financial interest, campaign funding tied to reputation, or violated disclosure rules, it might trigger FPPC scrutiny under Government Code 87-100. Therefore, I ask that Schwartz's name be put into the FPPC. The FPPC could have jurisdiction over Schwartz's vote if it finds a conflict of interest, which it did, or misuse of public position under Government Code 87-100 to 87-103. His self-interested release of the report costing public funds and subsequent post could be investigated as ethical breaches, which he should pay for. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Cowell.
Michael, followed by Upnate. Michael Gregory.
I used to be an investigator for a lot of local governments with the same type investigation all the time. Cities, counties, special districts with the state of California. And just because you don't have enough prima facie evidence doesn't mean it didn't happen.
So I
And
I
so-
need it to be about the FPPC, not about the investigation.
Yes, ma'am. So this is, in my opinion, this is not a waste of resources, because in every governmental entity, you have to investigate something, whether it's true or not. You have to spend the time, you have to spend the money, you have to spend the qualitative and quantitative investigation to do that. This can be looked at as retaliation, as a matter of fact, against Jennifer Wiersma. So you better be careful if you're going to go down that route, because the focus will be on you and other people. So I'm just telling you, I've done thousands of these investigations.
Thank you.
Epley, followed by Melissa.
This is awkward about the First Amendment today. We're here because there were sexual harassment charges. I'm just have a 10-second preamble, and I'll get to the FPPC. So all employees in California are required to be trained in sexual harassment prevention. I just took the training, and there are 3 factors involved: severity, pervasiveness, and whether a reasonable person would consider that a harassment. All of this dog and pony show happened because somebody alleged sexual harassment. One offhand comment cannot be considered that. Alleged comment. And FPPC, I agree with you, Dr. Anderson. We've made numerous complaints during the campaign because of people misrepresenting their signs, their positions, such as saying re-elect when they were recalled. FPPC does not have the resources, and it does not have the authority to actually remove an official. I think if you want to do it in addition to civil grand jury, I would be all for it. It cannot be the only avenue of addressing this complaint. I agree with you, there is less than 2% chance that they will follow through this. If we want to do it in addition, that is absolutely fine, but I do not think that should be the only avenue to address this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa?
I'm Melissa Schwartz. I'm Steve's daughter. If I may have 30 seconds before I get to the FPPC. No? Yes. Glad that you're not on the board. Thank you. I want to start by just speaking directly to Mrs. Wiersma, because since you've made false and deeply personal accusations about both of my parents, I'm taking 30 seconds, which...
I'm sorry, I have to have you just start.
I have 2 sentences to read here. That's
Okay,
all.
I want you to tie it into the FPPC.
That's where I'm going, okay? You have made false and deeply personal accusations against both of my parents. I want to share 2 things about them that you might not know. They met when they were 15, and they've been married for 57 years. My dad...
I'm so sorry.
I'm getting there.
Listen.
I'm getting there. I've worked on my dad's campaigns, and your defamatory statements were
Dr. Anderson.
absolutely
I'm going to
an
have to have you
Dr.
sit
Anderson.
down. You have to sit down. Steve, she has to sit down. Can you cut her mic?
Point of order, Dr. Anderson.
I know, we're...
She's got to sit down.
I know, we are. Did you cut the mic? I gave you... I'm so sorry. I gave you too many warnings. I need Brian. I called point of order too many times. I have to be fair.
Point of order, Dr. Anderson.
I know. I want you to know, like, I have to stay on topic, okay? Thank you. All right, and then at the beginning, I stated we wouldn't take any additional, but one person turned it in late. I think we just need to stick with, we won't take comments as we're working.
Can you
through
get
them.
consensus? Because I'd say take all comments, all of them.
I think if we do that, we're gonna get comments rolling in. So we're gonna. No.
Get them rolling in. Take them all.
No.
That's the right of the public.
The problem is if I do that, as we go on to the next comment, Emil, you're the deciding vote. Do you want to hear or not? For this topic only, since we have time, we're still under 30 minutes.
Let her talk.
We're still under 30 minutes. Go ahead. Okay. Wait, it's not you.
I get it. Oh.
It's Jack Guerrero.
We
Did you
still
turn
have
one in for number
consensus.
1?
Let the people speak.
Okay, we'll have you come up next. We're on number 1. Okay. Mr. Guerrero, we still are under our 30 minutes, and the board consensus is will allow Mr. Guerrero to speak. Yeah, it's okay. I promise we'll get to you next. Thank you.
I've had the pleasure of
mic's not
interacting
up.
with several of you over the course of the last few months, always with respect to issues of substance afflicting or affecting the children of this community. And so I come to the podium in that spirit of working collaboratively with this board and encouraging you to vote against this agenda item. I'm appealing to your better judgment, to your conscience. For one, this item is squarely outside the scope of the FPPC. This is not a campaign finance violation. Ms. Wiersma was simply availing herself of a process that is lawfully enshrined within the bylaws of this district. And so if there's any campaign finance violation to circulate, it's with respect to the board itself. And so there is no campaign finance violation. I would also suggest that the basis for the FPPC complaint is a report, an investigative report that deemed false accusations or false commentary to be inconclusive. If you read the report carefully, there is no definitive finding of false statements by anybody. And so for that reason, I don't think this is a legitimate complaint with the FPPC. It's not going to go anywhere. There is basically no practical consequence. It is purely a symbolic gesture that will only result in a divisive situation in this community, and I think that would be a terrible disservice. Thank you.
Thank you. So, the motion was made. We had a second. Lene?
Excuse me, for exactly what?
Yeah.
Can you repeat the motion?
I'll repeat the motion. The motion was
defer?
made, I turned right here. The motion was made to refer the matter to the FPPC. That motion, do you want me to read the whole thing again?
No, so it is to, in the affirmative, to refer to the FPPC.
Yes, in the
Okay.
affirmative.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Wiersma?
No.
Komrosky?
No.
Barham?
Jack Guerrero is one of the smartest people I know. I'm voting no.
Okay.
Anderson?
I'm going to vote no. Doesn't matter what I vote at this point. So the motion fails 1-4. Okay. So the part of that motion was to refer the findings to the FPPC. So I motion that we just remove Part B. It's not applicable anymore. Oh, no, this one's different. Okay. I am going to read this motion. The next one is, I move to that the Board of Education authorize the district's third-party investigator, Nicole Miller and Associates, to release any documentation, findings, exhibits, or supporting material related to the investigation into the grievance filed by Board Member Jen Wiersma to the FPPC and or the Riverside County Civil Grand Jury upon request by either agency. This authorization includes all materials previously shared with the board and or legal counsel as part of the completed investigation. I want to amend this real quick and cross out political FPPC. So let me read it without. So I'm going to say I move that the Board of Education authorize the district's third-party investigator, Nicole Miller and Associates, to release any documentation, findings, exhibits, or supporting materials related to the investigation into the grievance filed by board member Jen Wiersma to the Riverside County Civil Grand Jury upon request by the agency.
How did we move into the topic of the civil grand jury after? Because we need to have a discussion on that aspect and the next agenda item. I don't see how we're morphing into that.
I had them
without the
together,
discussion.
so let me just, do I have board consensus to move this item after number 2?
It needs to be.
Okay. So we're going to include that in 2, and I'll just put it on the next page. So the next motion is to refer this letter to a Riverside civil grand jury. So the motion is that I move that the Board of Education authorize the board president to submit a formal referral to the Riverside County Civil Grand Jury requesting an investigation. And I actually want to postpone this. I actually want to move to postpone this definitely, because I feel like anyone can refer this to the civil grand jury. It doesn't have to be me. It could be a community member. It could be any member of the board. It could be an employee. We don't need to take action on this. So I move to postpone this definitely. When we postpone it definitely, it can always be brought back in the future if we want to bring it back. Do I have a second?
You're talking about action item number 3 specifically, right?
2.
Personal submission by the board? Because then you shuffled with 2 and 3. I didn't know what you shuffled. You said something after number 2.
It was about releasing all the documentation, but I just feel like, anyone can submit this. What I'm trying to do is give the board options. So one board member feels like the third-party investigation. So let me make the motion so we can discuss it, because we need to second it. So I'll make the first motion. And then if I get a second, we can discuss it. I'm trying to decide if we should just postpone it definitely. Should we just postpone it? Definitely?
Which one?
To send it to the civil grand jury.
May I be recognized with a comment? So I think with your comment and flagging the community that they could possibly do this, it would behoove us to have it as a discussion point amongst ourselves without tabling it, because people came here to possibly address this on the agenda. I have material that would be pertinent, and that would be the right way to do it if, in essence, you're letting people know they could go to the grand jury. And if they do, they need additional information that we discuss.
The reason I put this on the agenda was to give you another option for an investigative, because you question Nicole Miller and Associates. So this is another third-party investigator, but I don't want to be the board president that submits it. And the board doesn't have to take action and submit it. So you could submit it yourself. Why don't you just submit it to the grand jury?
So here's my respectful thought on that. In your statement that went out on the agenda that you're waiting to share until the end tonight, you mentioned that each and every board member has a bias or is a party of interest, and that's correct. That was a correct synopsis. The entire investigative report was built on flawed conjecture and improper witness segregation, which allowed for collusion. But my point is, it nullifies the fact that
we're not going to retry the investigation. My
but it's pertinent to whether or not somebody would rerun.
So I'm going to postpone this definitely, and you can submit it to the civil grand jury. You both should submit it. You both should submit this. I would be happy for them to submit, and please submit. The public, the member of the public that is passing out papers, please submit their statement. Please. I would love for the civil grand jury to investigate their statement. That would make me happier than anything. So
I think we need to hear from the public on this as well, because you said before you make a decision, we have to hear from the public.
I have a motion to postpone.
You're silencing the public on the issue you agendized and said you wouldn't make a decision until they were heard.
Dr. Anderson.
You have to let the public speak.
Hold on.
Then we can vote.
I am making
Then
a
we
motion.
can vote. You can't do that until they've spoken.
We already decided.
We already decided that at the top of the meeting.
Okay, here we go. I am making a motion to postpone item 2 definitely I have a second from Mr. Barham.
You cannot take the vote,
You
though.
can, what you can do, you can motion to postpone something.
No, we have to listen
Definitely.
to the public before we vote.
No, we don't.
That is what we
We're
decided.
not
Yes,
voting
Mr.
on-
Barham, we
We're not
decided
voting
this.
on it.
We're not taking
You
action.
just made a motion.
That
That
is
is
the
an
bar we
action.
set.
I thought you were president for so long. Come on, where's your parliamentary procedure? I am motioning to
Are you saying that you
postpone-
don't want to listen to the public when you make this
I
motion?
am saying that
Just
parliamentary
be honest.
procedure says if you motion to postpone an action item, it's no longer on the agenda.
That's
So
like saying,
have-
I don't want to hear from the public.
You have to let the public speak. You have to.
So I have a motion
Call
and
the
a
question.
second. Emil calls the question. Lene, please call roll.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Wiersma,
No.
Okay.
You're going to be
Komrosky,
challenged on this. You have to let them speak. You've already agreed to it.
Komrosky, no.
Barham,
Yes.
Anderson.
No, I move to postpone. Yes, I made the motion. So the motion for Dr. Anderson to send this, because the motion that I put on here was board president to submit this to a civil grand jury. That has been postponed definitely. That doesn't mean that this can't come back. It can come back, but right now, we're not going to do it.
Can I make a comment real quick?
No, we're going to go on to the next item. Personal submission by board president is no longer relevant. So, number 3, was there comment on number 3? Because I motioned that we postpone this, or definitely because it's not relevant anymore. The public comments will be on number 4.
Right, that's a sleight of hand by shuffling the order and then doing this. It's a sleight of hand.
So, item 3, I motion to postpone definitely the submission by board president. Do I have a second?
Second.
Lene, call roll.
Schwartz,
If we can't be quiet.
No, I want to take the recess. I wanna
Okay,
take it.
Mr.
I
Mr.
motion that we take a
Barham needs a
5-minute
recess. I second. Does someone else need 5 minutes?
Yeah, I could
Okay.
use
If you are
5
here to speak, please don't go.
I need to go
I
talk to
changed my
daughter.
mind. I don't want to submit it. I feel like there's liability. Let's take a break. Let's go.
Would have been better to have public comments before you change your mind.
You guys can. Okay, 5 minutes. Let's close the cabinet again.
Melinda. Can everybody hear me? Okay, so I'm going to make a motion. I move that we allow public comments for number 3, even though it has been postponed.
Second.
Lene, can you please call the roll? Was it number
3?
Was number 2, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Wait.
We're going to allow
Oh, we're
public
going
comments.
back?
I want to thank you for making that motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So we're
Yeah.
number
Okay,
2.
so let's do that.
Okay.
Can we call the
Schwartz.
roll?
Yes.
Wiersma.
Yes.
Komorowski.
Yes.
Barham.
Yes.
Anderson.
Okay, let's call them. Let's get going.
Yes, the motion passes unanimously. How many public comments do we have? Number 2.
Let them go.
Yeah, let them go.
So the topic is referring it to a civil grand jury. And who is the first person?
First up is Jennifer San Nicolas, followed by Jim Dale.
All right.
So the motion in reference is to referring this matter to Riverside County Grand Jury. And as I mentioned before, I read through the investigator's report several times, and it is compelling reading. So I am in favor of this referral. Page 24 of the report begins to outline Mrs. Wiersma's airing of grievances and perceived slights, giving the investigator cause to not only disbelieve Mrs. Wiersma, but to conclude that Mrs. Wiersma acted in bad faith. Resources were wasted at the whim of a disgruntled trustee who channeled her inner Veruca Salt because she was mad she wasn't made president and didn't get her preferred seating assignment. While I think this is criminal, I am hardly unbiased, so I concur with President Anderson to refer this matter to the Riverside County Grand Jury for review. This will provide the fairness and due process that Mrs. Wiersma deserves, even though she didn't give that same consideration to Mr. Schwartz. I urge the board to vote yes on this motion. Thank you.
Sorry, Jim Dale, followed by Rick Reese.
Thank you. It's good to see you guys again. Been a few months. Well, I think that the purpose of the grand juries, generally, whether it's civil or it's criminal, it's very easy to reach one-sided conclusions. So I would push that both Mr. Schwartz and Mrs. Wiersma have independent civil juries if you're going to do one for just Trustee Wiersma. I've heard the claim often that public officials must act with integrity and respect the limits of their office. I'm here to tell you that investigations I have very little faith in, especially concerning the district, mainly because of my own experiences. You know my experience as a field hockey coach. I led the attempt to keep it here in the district. And we've done that for at least a year, though I question whether all the schools will be keeping it from what I've been told. But I was threatened myself with being banned from being a sub in the district. My son was banned from being a sub in the district. And other comments from people here. So I filed a formal complaint to get an investigation going here through the district. And that investigation, to me, was kind of a joke.
Point of order, I'm sorry, this is related to.
Yep. No, it's just that.
No, it has to be related to the current investigation and referring it to
Well,
a civil,
if you,
not your.
No, it's not about my thing or asking for anything there. No, the basic thing is, I don't have my own faith that an investigation can be done on one side or the other. So if we're going to submit it to the grand jury, then it would need to be both. Both would have to be investigated because I would not trust the previous investigation. From what I've looked at, I've been doing stuff with schools since 1996. I've seen a lot at the college levels and things here. So my whole thing here is the
Point of order, it just has to be about the. Okay, thank you for your comments.
Okay, Rick Reese, followed by Elizabeth Craig.
Good evening, Board. Just to clarify a few things about the county civil grand jury. It's, honestly, I think this is kind of an inappropriate use of the civil grand jury. This isn't a jury where they're going to come back like when we go and do jury duty and you come back guilty or not guilty. It's not that. The civil grand jury is appointed by a group of judges here in Riverside, and they are there for 1 year. They get paid. What they typically do is they go around and they audit various departments throughout the county, and then at the end they will write the recommendations. There's no guilty or not guilty. That's not their job. Even though it sounds like jury, that's not what they do. And really, well, some of the past things that I was on the county grand jury website earlier today. They did a review of the March Air Base Joint Powers. That's a big thing that affects the whole county. They do things that are very widespread, that affects a lot of people. Other things, they do county jail reviews. There's been suicides in the county jails. They will do that, review it. They can't say guilty, or they can't even issue indictments. They write recommendation reports. That's all they do. They've also done stuff as far as looking at fraud, waste, and abuse. But at the end, all they can do is write recommendations. That's all they do. Thank you. They can't charge anybody. They don't put down indictments. Other things that they have done is election integrity. I think they've done stuff with the Riverside County Registrar of Voters. They also did something recently with the city of Banning. But again, these are special things. And I just want to point out that in this case here, this is very much kind of a sexual harassment incident. She said, he said. If you think about it, countywide, we got thousands of people that work for the county, plus all the other jurisdictions, city employees, water boards, districts, you name it, that they could, if every sexual harassment case was to come up to the civil grand jury, they would never do it. They don't do this kind of stuff because this stuff happens so often. Unfortunately, these kind of incidents happen. This is something that the county grand jury is just not going to do. I'm just telling you that right now. Other things they've done is the failure of 911. They've also done studies for Narcan, advising. They're in like an advisement role, advising law enforcement agencies and counties and communities how to use Narcan. So I just want you to kind of consider that, because this really seems very inappropriate for, you know, the county civil grand jury. Thank you.
Elizabeth Craig, followed by Leanne Charlton.
I feel that if you're asking any entity, including the Riverside County Civil Grand Jury, to investigate this matter, you need to leave the investigation that was done by Nicole Miller and Associates out of what they have, or place it on hold for further investigation. And that is because Dr. Melinda Anderson lied during her testimony in the investigation.
So I'm going to call point of order because I'm a witness. And this motion that we...
But that's the reason it should be put on hold.
Let me just tell you what the motion was. It is to investigate the use of public resources for personal grievance. So we are not here to put people on trial. You can put me on trial, say what you want, but this is got to be related to, the motion was Member Wiersma specifically regarding her use of public resources for personal grievance.
So the reason that it was...
So it would be a new investigation.
Okay, that's what I would hope. And I would hope you would tell the truth through it.
So just go ahead and keep going with your comments.
Okay. Right, the use of public resources, sure, was misused because the investigation was altered by someone lying during the investigation.
Can the audience
Are you going to
be
point of order them?
I'm going to ask for a point of order. You know what? We're just going to get through it. Let her talk. We're just going to stop. Just everyone, try to do your best to stay on topic. This is about the misuse of public resources doing this investigation through the district and using district money after around January 27th, we said this was a civil matter. Referring it to the grand jury has to do with misuse of public resources and not taking it outside of the district.
Her time is continuing to tick down. You need to
Okay,
take it
keep
back.
going.
You need
Keep
to
going.
take it back in time so that it encompasses what our board president just
Okay.
took. Lene, thank you.
So the only way that public resources were misused was because of a lie during the investigation, and the investigation is false because of this lie, because it is a key witness in the investigation. And so if you can tell the truth in the future, then another investigation would be worth it. But since you clearly cannot, then
Just let her finish.
then we'll just continue.
Okay, let him talk. Who is the next speaker?
Okay, so Leanne is gone. We have Bob Cowell, followed by Michael
Okay,
Gregory.
Mr. Cowell, we're talking about the misuse of public resources for a personal grievance. And I want to remind everyone, we're not.
Somebody's water back there? Civil grand jury is not a criminal grand jury. They don't investigate individuals. They investigate policies, procedures, and agency practices. They are auditors, totally out of scope on individual sexual harassment claims.
It's not about that.
Therefore, this letter does not represent what actually happened. Now that there's a sworn affidavit by Jason Craig, this is a mute case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Gregory, followed by Jason Craig. Michael
I think
Gregory.
Mr. Gregory left.
Oh, he left? Okay. Jason Craig?
So, head scratcher to say the least. We're going to defer to a nonpartisan grand jury to punish a potential victim of sexual harassment. That's what you're showing the community. That's what you're showing the community by doing this. Per my testimony, Mr. Schwartz did engage in potential wrongdoing. So now that we are able to get other legal bodies to make bad faith decisions.
Pause this time. I'm going to pause your time. Read this again. I would be happy to not be a witness. You guys can, I won't even participate. The grand jury can go ahead without me. What we're looking at as being referred to a grand jury is a board member regarding the misuse of public resources for personal
Not black and
grievance.
white.
So we're not asking to redo like whatever. I just want you to be clear regarding the misuse of public resources for personal grievance. So go ahead one more time and.
I mean, and I'll just say that should this go to grand jury, I'll make myself available for discovery and testimony in defense of Ms. Wiersma.
Okay. Next.
Next is Rusty, followed by Elizabeth Sauls.
So I'm going to speak to the appropriateness of deference to the grand jury, and that is based on the investigation and the report by Nicole Miller. And so that's how that relates to referring to the grand jury. I'm a retired police sergeant and experienced at conducting investigations, including personnel investigations. And I want to talk about the wisdom of referring this investigation to the civil grand jury, because I believe it will be a tremendous waste of time and an embarrassment to the district because of what I believe is the apparent unprofessional nature of the investigation. Specifically, number one, the investigation was conducted by interviewing the witnesses and subject of the complaint prior to interviewing the complainant or victim. This is outside the accepted norms of investigations. Number two, the investigator exhibits a bias against Ms. Wiersma by making derogatory comments about her, even to the point of questioning her ability as a trustee, when the report reads that possibly she was, quote, simply poor at communicating what was actually discussed, which is also not an ideal trait given her forward-facing position. This statement is inflammatory opinion apparently designed to prejudice the reader against Ms. Wiersma. The investigator doesn't, number three, the
Point
investigator.
of order, Dr. Anderson.
So,
Come on.
I need your help calling point of order.
Yeah, I mean-
I just feel like you
Is
guys
it not
don't
based
under-
on the report that they gave you?
No,
Is that
no,
not the referral?
we're asking
It is
for an
not.
investigation of the misuse of public resources because a board member was given direction in late January that this needed to be taken outside of the district and that it was a civil matter. So do we want the grand jury to investigate the misuse of public resources by using the district?
But you're
What-
assuming that
so-
there's a misuse of public resources
Like
based on
using
her
the-
report.
Well, no, like using our general
Dr. Anderson.
counsel as a, yeah, okay, never mind. Keep going, but I think you misunderstand, but keep going.
I appreciate that. Number three, the investigator doesn't address the fact that Ms. Anderson.
I'm going to call a point of order. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. But when my daughter came up to speak, and she was not on topic, she was asked to sit down. I appreciate what you're saying, but we are talking about the misuse of public funds. There was nothing in the investigator's report about the misuse of funds. It had nothing to do with it. Just please let me finish,
Okay.
and then I'll let you finish. We are talking about the misuse of public funds, and that has nothing to do with the report. There's nothing in the report about public money. The report is strictly about a complaint that was made and the response of the witnesses and the investigation. So if you want to talk about the misuse of public funds, that's great, but we're not talking about the report because there was nothing in the report about public funds. Thank you.
However,
Thank you.
Are you shutting me down? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you used to think.
Let him talk. Let him talk for another minute. Let him, go ahead. Go ahead, Rusty.
Okay. Number three.
Okay.
I want to finish then. So does Jason.
My question to you, Mr. Schwartz, or to whoever is, this is all, but the idea that public funds was misused is based on the fact, the assumption that her allegation was false, because.
Rusty, you need to sit.
I want you to finish because I just think like I'm going to let you finish.
Then let's let everyone, including Jason, I think you should too, and Jenny.
Okay.
So let me ask you.
Do your best, and I'll try to help redirect you.
I don't want to cause a melee, but my question is, if what happened here, the poor nature of the investigation in the report is not suitable to this agenda item, where would it come up?
I want you to finish with your public comments.
All right. Number three. The investigator doesn't address the fact that Ms. Anderson contacts Mr. Schwartz to inform him of the complaint, including the specific language he was accused of using. This was highly inappropriate given the fact that Ms. Anderson was a potential witness, if only by virtue of the fact that she was at the location the incident allegedly occurred. Number four, the investigator doesn't address the fact that Mr. Schwartz asked for and.
So I have to call point of order, and I'm just going to ask that you sit down. People don't, I try to say, like, this is very confusing. We're not retrying this case. We're not questioning witnesses, and we're not accusing Jen or Steve of anything. So we're going to call point of order. We wanted to know your opinion on, do we refer this for investigation of misuse of public funds? And I started by bringing up the 2023 November incident. So I really am going to stick with the topic that's listed on the agenda. I think
So
that's going to be fair.
my question again to you then is.
I can't answer questions. Not in this meeting. Next comment. Not in this. Next comment.
Elizabeth Sauls, followed by Jessica Alexander.
There's no vote. There's no vote being taken. Next is Elizabeth Saul. And I hope people are realizing where we're going with this agenda item.
I'm hoping to speak about specifically my experience with Nicole Miller and Associates.
Your microphone's not on.
Because
But we're not talking about Nicole Miller, and we're not,
Yeah, but we're talking about a grand jury investigation being moved forward based on a document prepared by Nicole Miller and Associates.
So
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I thought it was agenda
I'm
item
sorry,
number
can
2, which is the grand jury.
Can I just, please?
It would be
There was-
recouping the money that was spent on the investigation with Nicole Miller, like doing the investigation. Was that, my question is that a misuse of funds? Because on or around January 27th, 28th, we received counsel from the general, we got direction from general counsel, this is a civil matter. And then we tried to keep it a civil matter, but it was pushed through the district. So the question is there a misuse of public funds by having the attorneys, the investigation, was all of that a misuse of funds?
There is a misuse of public funds by whoever was the decision maker in the contract with Nicole Miller and Associates.
And that was the board, yeah.
Yeah, the entire board, every single one of you were the decision
I
makers?
mean, it's a sticky situation that needs. Do we need a civil grand jury
Nicole
to investigate
Miller and
it?
Associates is
So
your-
do you have do you have a comment about?
I do.
Okay, let's
Yes, I
try
do.
to
Thank
stay
you, Dr.
on
Anderson.
comment. Thank you.
When a friend forwarded me a link a couple days ago and I read about the TVUSD president pushing for a grand jury investigation about a matter
Can
with
you guys be
Nicole Miller
respectful, please? Thank you.
and Associates prepared document as supporting evidence, I was concerned. I am not here in any other capacity than as a taxpayer and a parent with firsthand experience with Nicole Miller and Associates. I participated for 5 months in a Nicole Miller investigation with this school district. I've written to all of you a number of times this past year with specific reference to the district's unethical relationship with this firm.
Okay, so
I
now
speak
that's
with
point of order
firsthand
because this is not even related to anything that we're talking about tonight. Like Nicole Miller and Associates isn't on trial, and
no, but document the support, the basis on which you want to move forward.
Dr. Anderson,
the information in her
please
document.
have her sit down.
Okay, I need to ask that you sit down because it's not related. I'm sorry. Yeah, this
Jessica Alexander.
The misuse of public resources, and I think you would probably have good insight into that. So come on up.
Good evening, board members. I strongly urge the board to retract this item and not advance it to the Riverside County Civil Grand Jury. My name is Jessica Alexander, and I speak today not only as a resident and as a mother of a future student in this district, but as also an elected official who cares deeply about the city and the 25,000 students we all serve. Shortly after the incident in question, Board Wiersma sought my counsel based on my experience supporting women who experience trauma.
Point of order.
I'm
please.
getting to it.
I'm sorry. Can we just...
I am getting to it. Because there's
You know,
funding. Sir, there's
sorry.
funding.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but when my daughter got up to speak, they
This
did
is a
not let me
dysfunction
finish.
function. I've
I'm
never
sorry.
seen a board like this. Can I please just...
Hey, come on,
Pause for
guys.
time.
Hey,
I really need everyone
Jason.
to be respectful of
come on, man.
Mrs. Alexander, please.
You're losing control of the meeting, Dr. Anderson. Take a recess and we'll restart our time. You're losing control of the meeting. I'm just being honest. This is
Everyone
really
be
bad.
quiet for just a minute, okay?
Wow.
We've given multiple warnings to people. It's usually 2, 3, we keep going. And Mrs. Alexander is only 1 minute in, and she's gotten 1 warning, so would you please continue?
Can I, if I can say this, just before anybody who speaks at
Start
any
her time.
council, I'll start my time. Any council should be able to have a conversation. It all alludes into the same topic. Just because not every sentence is complete and specifically states that, ma'am, we still can have a conversation here. So let me finish. Mr. Schwartz. When she attempted to report her concerns of unwelcome verbal harassment to HR, she found that there was no clear policy in place to support elected board members in such situations. This was not a misuse of funds. She did not have assistance to move forward and receive help. This is a serious gap that I believe this board must quickly address moving forward for the protection and support and without retaliation of any board members who seeks the correction of unwelcome behavior. President Anderson, if you further this grand jury and continue to allow this private dispute to continue, you will further divide this board and this community. You are the board president. We urge you to steer this board away from conflict and not into it. Board members Schwartz and Barham, this is going to stay on topic. Men who claim to be blessed by the seed of Abraham. There you go. Well, this has to do with court.
Point of order.
And there's my time again.
Pause her time.
This is First Amendment right.
Let me give her a minute. I feel like she's been on topic because she related it to the amount of money that we're spending, and she's actually addressing whether or not we should send this to a civil grand jury. Shh. I don't know. Right?
You know what?
But give her...
No.
The fact that I have a gentleman who consists
Okay.
to be my brother and a man who is Jewish, and we have the understanding of the same exact principles that have to do with court-related issues.
Just a second, because I don't want to take away your time.
It's ticking. I'm not even going to have my time.
We push pause for a second. Push pause. Listen. Yeah, push pause. I am going to listen, everyone. We're trying our best, and this is why we can't be the jury and the judge. Can you see why we can't be the ones that decide what happens here? Like, as a board, as citizens, we can't make these decisions. Mrs. Alexander, I'm going to give you your time back with the seed of Abraham.
Thank you,
and
ma'am.
I trust that you will tie it back into the FPPC.
110%.
Thank you.
Do I get some of my time?
Give her a minute 30.
I'm almost done. I'm about 3/4 of the way done. Board members Schwartz and Barham, men who claim to be blessed by the seed of Abraham. Solomon stated in Proverbs 8:10, these verses remind us not to rush to court, but to resolve matters privately and with honor. Public shame serves no one. Don't take matters to court hastily. Otherwise, what you will do after if your opponent humiliates you. Make your case with your opponent without revealing another secret. Otherwise, the one who hears it will disgrace you and you will never live it down. I urge all of you to lead with integrity, handle personal issues internally, and refocus on the students. We did not elect you to outsource leadership to the FPPC, grand jury, or Thurman in Sacramento. We uphold your oath to office and do the job as a leader and serve this community correctly. Thank you and God bless.
Time.
Upneat, followed by Erica.
Okay, Upneat.
Very good advice by Ms. Alexander. Mrs. Wiersma should have paid attention to that before bringing it up at a public board workshop. Coming back to...
Point of order. I want you to respect Mrs. Upneat while she's speaking.
Coming back to this topic, this all started out of a seating dispute. And if you remember, on October 17, 2023, Mr. Schwartz and Mrs. Barclay both said, do not give the president the authority to make seating arrangements, but Dr. Komrosky was dead set on removing the cabinet from the dais, so they set up this rule in place. This did not exist before last year. I'm coming to the thing. Civil grand jury, people have said they do not have the authority. I'm going to read verbatim from Government Code 3060. An accusation in writing against any officer of a district, county, or city, including a member of the governing board or personnel commission of a school district or any humane officer for willful or corrupt misconduct in office may be presented by the grand jury of the county for or in which the officer accused is elected or appointed. The grand jury presenting the accusation may also be the additional grand jury impaneled pursuant to, and there's a bunch of sections. An accusation may not be presented without the concurrence of So the complaint can definitely be made. If the board is not going to do it, I will be. And not for just this matter. We've wasted money on other investigations. We wasted money paying a lawyer $27,000 because Mrs. Wiersma did not agree with the legal recommendation of CDE. She has been constantly putting our district in legal jeopardy. I will be filing this complaint, and mine isn't like wishy-washy. You know how detailed I am. I will be putting detailed documentation in place.
Point of order. Let her speak. Don't interrupt the speaker.
and confidentiality concerns. I had brought this back in September when during your board comments you said your sons have been accused of rape. I did not know you were referring to your own sons. I had pointed it out at that point. It's written in the email, I sent it out. It's dated February 17, 2023. It is definitely poor judgment doing it to your own family. It is definitely poor judgment doing it to another person. You saw the daughter, what actions, you knowing the consequences, you continued with your destructive behavior. It is indeed very shameful. I will be filing this. I don't care. The board doesn't want to do it. Any citizen can do it. I am a citizen of Riverside County. I will be doing it. Thank you.
Point of order. Who's the next? Last speaker, Erica Septon. Last speaker, Erica.
Hello, thank you for letting me speak. I want to first say that I think that everybody who was cut off should have been able to continue speaking, including Steve Swartz's daughter. Even though people don't want to hear what she has to say, I think we should not be so sensitive that we can't listen to it. I don't think that this was an inappropriate use of funds to investigate the claim, but I don't also feel that it should be referred to a grand jury because I feel that the district doesn't need to spend much more time and money on this situation. I think it's something that should have been handled behind closed doors. And whoever had the ability to keep it behind closed doors, I think should have exercised that power a bit more. The community doesn't really have a lot of interest in having to be brought into the interpersonal drama of board members. This is a he said, she said situation that absolutely nobody can prove. So there's no point in saying you know who is right and who is wrong. I do want to say that, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I do want to say that I feel a little disheartened that if we're willing to sue the board and spend lawyer money about CRT and free speech, which is fine. That it's fine to be concerned if CRT is taken away or free speech is being impinged upon. But what's going on when the liberals are upset that we're not defending or investigating properly a sexual harassment claim? I'm not saying that he said it. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But it at least needs to be investigated. So it was not a misuse of funds. And I think if you did refer it to the grand jury, if Steve Swartz's daughter wants to come up and defend her dad, can we just, as a community, have a heart, all of us, to let her say what she needs to say? Because if it was my dad, I'd want to say it. And I just think that we all need to calm down a little bit. We don't need to be enemies. All our kids go to school together. Let's show them that as adults, we don't have to necessarily like each other, but we need to work together.
Okay, so then I'll motion that Mr. Schwartz's daughter be allowed to finish her public comments. But if I do that, it will be,
Yeah, we'll let them finish. Let these people finish.
Okay,
I want them to finish.
how are we going to go backwards?
That's
in
okay. We know
time?
who they are. There's about 3 of them.
Okay.
I know who they are. Let's start with Mr. Schwartz's daughter.
We need, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, do we have consensus?
Yes.
Mrs. Wiersma, do you want to let people come back up and speak?
My only question
Of
in this
course.
aspect,
So, point of order, Mr. Barnum. Mrs. Wiersma, go ahead, finish.
my only question would be not to limit your time. It would be to point to the lack of procedural consistency that is alarming in this meeting. And it needs, thank you for duly noting that, because it's really important that we conduct these meetings in that manner. The public expects it, and we've been so all over the board.
because these are hard topics, okay? This is a tough meeting.
And
So let's give a little bit of grace.
Perhaps the district should have had an attorney here or somebody to preside over it, because
So,
they are hard topics.
Come on,
Mrs.
let's
Wiersma,
move-
so
let's
we
move
have
on.
consensus to move, to allow her. I'm going to tell you, all three, we've been working with three law firms for 6 months on this. If people think that the attorneys have not been heavily involved, all three, and the comment that I get every time is, this is the most unprecedented. No one has ever dealt with anything like this. It's not that there's a sexual harassment claim. It's the pushing it and not listening to attorneys when they say it. So the attorneys have been, and they've said this is a civil matter. So we're gonna like plug through this meeting the best we can.
You're out of
And
order.
allow Mr. Schwartz's. But if we do that, we need to be fair. I mean, it's going to be, I agree with Mrs. Wiersma, it's going to be a big mess.
I ask for 1 minute. You can time me.
Okay.
That's all I want. 1 minute.
Let's let a few people,
1
let's
minute.
see
Who
what
else?
happens here.
Mr. Craig, you were sat down. Would you like an additional minute? I'll give you, and Ms. Scharf. And then one more. So we have 4 people that we took their time away,
That's
and we're
good.
going to let you come back up and take your minutes.
Okay, let's go.
1 minute.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Let's be really respectful and quiet since we took their time away and they only get 1 minute.
So I am Melissa Schwartz, so you all know my name. I'm Melissa, not just Steve's daughter. But I am also a member of this community. And I want to address Mrs. Wiersma, because you've made false and deeply personal accusations against both of my parents. My mom's not even on this board. So I want to share with you that they met at 15, they married at 21, they've been faithfully married for over 57 years. My husband and I actually moved to Temecula several years ago just so we could be close to them. My father is an exemplary family man, and no one has ever made a claim like this against him until you. Growing up, one of the lessons my dad taught me was to turn the other cheek. Since you frequently quote scripture from this dais, I'm sure you're familiar with Matthew 5:39. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other also. That's who my father is. It is incomprehensible and shameful that someone who is so decent and so dedicated to public service is the very man that you chose to publicly defame. You owe my father and this community an apology, and if you have a shred of the moral conviction you preach, you'll resign from this board tonight.
So the point of my testimony was not really directed towards Mr. Schwartz and the potential sexual harassment, but the fact that there is evidence that needs to be investigated before we can even proceed, right? I'm more concerned about the look of the district on a macro level. We're talking about sexual harassment here. We can't go black and white. There's middle ground, there's gray here. So if I'm just trying to present something I feel is truthful, and I'm willing to put myself out there, after I learned the facts, you guys voted to release the report. It was kind of a weird way that we were able to see it after the fact. I'm just saying, take all the investigative facts before and after and make your decision. That's it.
Thank you. And then we have is it Mrs. Scharf or Ms. Scharf? Okay. Mrs. Scharf, okay.
All right. Right, okay. Good evening once again. Again, Mr. Schwartz, I commend your focus on students and accountability. Given that Ms. Wiersma shared this issue on her campaign Instagram, referring it to the FPPC is entirely appropriate. Once again, we're seeing board member Wiersma misuse public funds to the detriment of TVUSD students and staff. I applaud the board for finally holding her financially accountable and urge you to pursue all avenues of recourse. Jen, let's stop rewriting history. As an educator, I endured harassment from you and Mr. Komrosky, targeted online, lied about during your board comments, and financially harmed. In fact, just this week in Mr. Craig's letter that he wrote, I was falsely accused. Mr. Schwartz and I were both falsely accused of having this report that I did not have. Where Mr. Craig got that lie from, I have no idea. But anyways, so this district refused to act, even when your lies led to threats against my physical safety. So I'm thrilled that you might finally be held accountable for all of your lies.
Okay, and then last, in the back, if you want to come up and take your last minute.
As I had let you know previously, you have information going back your entire tenure on this school board, and those of you that preceded these new people joining the school board from me, that details the district's unethical relationship with Nicole Miller and Associates. I'm quite surprised that you would consider moving forward to a grand jury something with a document prepared by this firm that underpins it. I speak with firsthand experience with Nicole Miller and Associates and with evidence when I say that TVUSD orders and pays for a third party to provide you documentation that you can then hold up as neutral, third party, and unbiased. Yet there is one chief decision maker named in that contract with Nicole Miller and Associates. This person dictates exactly what the outcome of the investigation is going to be. This is bribery, and you use public funds to do it. It seems unwise for you to refer anything to a grand jury that has documentation supporting it that is prepared by this firm, and you know why. Every one of you knows why.
Point of order. Point of order. I need you to. No, we have. I need her to. She's not even talking about the investigation anymore.
I believe Mr. Stump was also stymied in sharing his
Who was
comment.
that?
Mr. Stump.
Mr. Stump was stymied.
Please come back up. I would like
Thank
to have
you.
one more minute.
Thank you. So I'll just finish up with the last 2 points. The point that I'm making is that this investigation is flawed. The report is probably an accurate representation of the investigation, and it's flawed. The investigator does not address the fact that Mr. Schwartz asked for and received statements from Ms. Anderson and Mr. Barham. This incident should not have been discussed by potential witnesses and the subject of the investigation. Ms. Anderson took the time to suggest, her words, board members not discuss the incident with the public, but she should have directed that they not discuss it, particularly amongst themselves. The idea that Mr. Schwartz would have asked for a statement without any discussion about it strains credulity. At best, it has the appearance of impropriety, and at worst, could be evidence of collusion. Finally, the fact that Mr. Schwartz and Ms. Wiersma have a contentious relationship is put forward as a rationale that he wouldn't make such a comment. This might have some foundation if he were accused of making the comment out loud or in an attempt at humor. But in fact, if he made the comment quietly, as alleged, and possibly so that it might not be heard by his presence, just a few problems I see that should be addressed before making more decisions.
Thank you. Is there any more? Okay. So the next item is the submission, and so we're going to take this off because it's not applicable. Do I have consensus? Just to submit it by the board president, so I'm not going to do that. So just consensus that we won't address the personal submission. The next is, yeah, so number 3, do you want to vote on pulling it, or should we just pull it? Because it's not applicable anymore.
Just pull it.
Okay, just pull it. Consensus to pull 3. Number 4 is the withdrawal of the district involvement and limitation to record keeping and reimbursement support. I move that the Board of Education formally withdraw the Temecula Valley Unified School District from any further involvement in the personal dispute initiated by board member Jen Wiersma, as the matter has been determined to be a private civil issue outside the scope of district jurisdiction. The district shall take no further action except to retain all records, reports, and documentation related to the matter for future reference. Provide documentation to oversight or enforcement agencies upon request, and assist in efforts to seek reimbursement of public funds expended on the investigation if such reimbursement is pursued through legal or administrative channels. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Does anyone need me to explain what this means?
I think you begin the discussion, and then we can each speak to it if we have words.
Okay. So, give me 3 minutes so I can explain it. So again, this goes back to November 2023, when the previous board determined that these complaints were outside the jurisdiction of the district. And we have stayed true to that. I would like to understand why, if an employee makes a similar complaint against a board member, why that board member does not need to participate and completely ignores it. It's because they're outside the jurisdiction of the district. But then why would a board member think that a complaint between two board members would somehow qualify as being within the boundaries of the district? And like I said, all the other complaints, I think there's 20 of them, happened on school property during working hours, and the other one was after hours, off school property. And again, it's between two board members. I think the attorney previously said very clearly the district does not have jurisdiction over elected officials. So if two elected officials are fighting with each other, they've got to take it outside of the district. And I think we've got to stop spending time and money on this. I think that was, we should have never gotten this far. So that's why I want to make sure that it is voted on, that we're not going to waste any more district staff, money, resources. We're not reopening investigations. We're just going to move on from it. Is there someone that wants to argue that the district still needs?
Is that a motion?
I made the motion. You seconded
Second.
it. So what is the comment? Like, why should the district keep paying for this?
I have a couple of important things to cover. I'll try to make this brief, but I would like for you all to hear me out. The UCP process is an internal administrative mechanism designed to resolve such issues within the district's jurisdiction, not a civil lawsuit. Districts must investigate and, if necessary, take corrective action. The investigative report by Nicole Miller and Associates, commissioned by TVUSD, indicates the district treated the complaint as within its purview by conducting an investigation, suggesting they had accepted responsibility. The incident occurred during a district-sanctioned event. The UCP explicitly covers harassment complaints, and I followed the process, triggering the district's duty to investigate. Courts have ruled the districts cannot evade Title IX or state law obligations by labeling harassment complaints as civil when they occur in an educational context. The California Department of Education oversees UCP compliance, and districts cannot unilaterally reclassify such complaints to avoid liability. By commissioning an independent investigation, TVUSD acknowledged its role, making it inconsistent to later claim the matter was civil and beyond their purview. But what's more important is there was a constituent here tonight who said that a paper trail is important, and I agree with you. Here's what I need for you to hear. On February 24th, I emailed Dr. Woods, Mr. Marble, our president, and an attorney. Here are my very words. My suggestion for rectifying the matter is to go directly into a professional form of mediation, to draft a solution that is best for the district, my colleagues, and the community as a whole. We should set the example for finding resolution without litigation and spending additional district dollars. I know Greg Langworthy has reached out with recommendations, also seemed willing to offer and volunteer. Perhaps a lawyer could oversee the parameters of the mediation and the terms which we can agree to.
Dr. Anderson, I'm up for extending her time as much as she wants, and Mr. Schwartz, both of them, as long as they want to talk.
I have to know how this can be done legally.
No extension.
It's up to Mr. Schwartz and I to have this primary conversation. I do not want to violate the Brown Act, and part of our solution building that needs to be crafted additional policy.
You need to cut the mic, Lene.
No, you need to hear me out because this is everything.
Wait, shh, everyone calm down. Your 2 minutes is up. Does any,
This is my due diligence that's and was
You're out of
turned
order,
down.
Mrs. Wiersma.
I was turned down.
You are out of order,
But the
Mrs.
community
Wiersma.
deserves to hear the
Mrs.
truth.
Wiersma, you are out of order.
Okay. It's okay. Everyone calm down. It's okay. So, Mrs. Wiersma, your 2 minutes is up. Does someone else want to
Yes,
comment
I
about
do.
taking the district and not using any more public resources on
Yes,
it?
this.
2 minutes, Mr. Schwartz. And
We
again,
are-
we're
I don't
talking
need-
about
I don't
using.
need 2 minutes.
Okay.
We're not employees of the district, okay? And it's, my attorney and other attorneys I've spoken to said this is a civil matter, and so I am handling it through my attorney, and I have not released him. And we had an investigation. The report was made. In fact, the gentleman there with the hat, I shared it with him because he requested me to send it to him, and I did. So we're not here to discuss whether or not Nicole Miller is good or bad. They were hired. They're a legitimate firm. They made their decision, and I agree. Let's let the district get out of this, and we will continue, if we have to, civilly to resolve this matter. Thank you.
Some of those I'll speak to on the next item, but the thing that, it's a glaring inconsistency. If you truly wanted to stop wasting district money on this, you wouldn't have had this very meeting. It would have died in the last meeting when it was voted in to release it to the board. I hope you're paying attention, Dr. Anderson, because you like to talk when board members are talking. You do it frequently. All I'm saying is this very meeting is a contradictory problem that you face. The very thing that you agendize is the very thing you're asking us to not do anymore. You're wasting taxpayers' money by this very meeting. It's very irritating. And quite honestly, it's a reckless meeting because of your leadership.
Okay, the next is, should we just vote on it now then? Okay. Oh, yeah, we do have, thank you. We have public comments, so we'll start with.
First up is Jennifer San Nicolas, followed by Brandy Meeker.
Okay.
I just want to verify we're on number 4, right? Okay. Got a little confusing. Okay. I agree that the board should take action to remove itself from any further action in this matter. This was never a district issue, and the district never should have been involved. It has been alarming how certain members of this board think that the district resources are here for their personal use. District legal is for the business of the district or the business of the board as a whole. It is not to advance your personal agenda or to protect yourself, your family members, etc. Every penny taken away from education disenfranchises our children. I have heard talk about, or excuse me, Mrs. Wiersma, I've heard you talk about yourself all night, but never once about the concern for students. As for the board, if you need a personal attorney, get a personal attorney. Do not use district resources. If you can't afford one, then please act right. I do hope that the board is reimbursed by Mrs. Wiersma for the misuse of public funds because her histrionics are getting very expensive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brandy Meeker, followed by Bob Cowell.
Good evening, board members, superintendent. This matter does not belong at a school board meeting, period. The school board and district have concluded their business with regard to this matter by hiring an independent investigator and releasing the findings. Mr. Schwartz was basically vindicated by the investigation. Mrs. Wiersma's veracity has been called into question and her reputation injured. If Mr. Schwartz feels like he needs further vindication, he is free to pursue the matter in civil court or file his own FPPC complaint, not through this body. But I would ask you, how much more do you need or want, and to what end? It is way past time for this board to get back to the business it was elected to do, serve students, parents, teachers, and the community.
Thank you.
Bob Cowell, followed by Jimmy Sharp.
Anderson, you said this is no trial. This has been a trial. I'm sorry. And Schwartz and Barham, you're all three in colludes. And you haven't let Jen speak, and this has been a trial, and you have put her on trial without due process. I just want to state that. Thank you.
Last speaker, Jenny Sharp.
All right. As Wiersma repeatedly ignored district council that this matter is civil and not under the district's purview, I strongly encourage this board to not only go after every single cent Wiersma wasted, but to also bring back a formal censure so that she is held accountable. I am one of those employees who made complaints against both Wiersma and Komrosky, but was told by HR that the district did not have jurisdiction. And instead of insisting that my own personal grievance be solved at the district's expense, I simply defended myself publicly as best I could. So since Jen was allowed to use district funds and not pay them back, will her lies against me from the dais also be investigated at the district's expense? Will I get a special meeting dedicated to my own civil grievance? Wiersma's lies, personal, political, nationalistic, racist, homophobic, and transphobic agenda has cost this district tens of thousands of dollars thus far. With the public council settlement, it will likely be millions. It is imperative that those who lie, especially about sensitive issues such as sexual harassment, and those who choose to ignore legal counsel be held liable. The students and staff of this award-winning district deserve every single dollar provided by the state and Temecula's taxpayers, and Wiersma should pay us back and be formally censured by this board. Please, let's put this to bed and get back to serving our students and community. Thank you.
There's no more public comment on that.
Do you want to vote?
So the motion was made. Let's call the question.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Wiersma?
No.
Komrosky?
Yes.
Barham?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes. So the motion passes 4-1. So the next one is a motion. I put this, let me make the motion, get the second. I move that the Board of Education refer the third-party investigation findings and their conduct, and the conduct of board member Jen Wiersma to the Riverside County Office of Education, and that California State Superintendent of Public Instruction for the review and oversight. The board further requests that the county superintendent or state superintendent consider initiating a formal review of the fiscal crisis and management assistant team to evaluate the district, primarily the board's governance practices, assist in the determination of formal censure and the use of public funds in this matter, and to issue recommendations for corrective action. Supporting materials including third-party investigation report, relating correspondence, and board meeting documentation shall be transmitted along with the referral. Do I have a second?
Second.
So I put this on the agenda because I don't believe that we can make a determination regarding censure. And I know at the time Mr. Schwartz had put the censure. I know there's confusion too in the public. If you look at the censure item, I did not put the censure item on the agenda. If anyone got a phone call saying that I was censuring Mrs. Wiersma, I was not. I've always been opposed to the censure because I don't believe we can judge each other as board members. We're all involved. And referring it to the state superintendent, he has no authority over, he can't discipline the board member, remove them, but he could recommend a censure. So I thought if we got it out of our hands and put it into someone else's hands to recommend censure, maybe that would be better for both Mrs. Wiersma and Mr. Schwartz, because then it's at the recommendation of someone else, and that was the person that's the department I came up with. The other thing is reviewing how the board has conducted itself with the misuse of funds. It's just been brought to my attention that this has been going on, the misuse of attorneys for personal, I've got to collect myself. So we have a policy that says no board member can act as an individual. We work as a collective. And so when an attorney represents one board member and fights against the rest of the board or the district, in my mind, that's a misuse of funds. And I think it would be nice if they could audit, even back 5 years when, personally I felt like the Liberal board during COVID may have also not handled themselves appropriately. So I don't think it would hurt our board to be audited. And then all that would happen, it's my opinion, but all that would happen is they would make recommendations moving forward so that we don't ever end up here again, so we don't end up with expensive investigations and use of attorneys for civil matters. So that was my intention of putting this on the agenda. I would recommend that Mr. Schwartz refer the matter to the state superintendent because he's the one that wanted the censure in the first place. And so that's the purpose behind this, is just maybe we can do better in the future. And I think that this is a dysfunctional board and that we might need the county to come in and have a look at us and audit us and give us recommendations. So do we have any, that's it for me. Do we have any comment from the board? I did a motion second. Mrs. Wiersma?
I do have a comment. From my understanding, you're clarifying that Mr. Schwartz would be the one to send the letter. What I would like to highlight is in your sample to the Honorable Tony Thurmond, you do state the investigation found that Mr. Schwartz did not engage in any misconduct and concluded that Ms. Wiersma acted in bad faith and likely pursued the complaint for political reasons. The problem with this is the report, as Mr. Stump pointed out, did not conclusively state this. The report has been misrepresented on social media, in much of these agenda items, and in this specific letter tonight. So when we're talking about the importance of integrity
Point of
and
order.
procedural consistency,
There is no point of order. She's making a factual statement, Mr.
You know
Barham.
what?
Let her continue. And then you can talk after she talks.
No, because she's not on topic.
She is on
She's
topic. I want to hear.
1,000% on topic,
Wait.
and you're getting irritated. Let her
stop.
continue.
Wait. Everyone, calm down. Point of order. Mrs. Wiersma, we paused your time.
Go ahead.
When everyone's quiet, I'm listening.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
so I am specifically on topic because I am reading the attachment for this particular item, and it's important to point out the inconsistencies. As we've moved through G1 to G5, what we're doing in terms of relying on a report that has now come into question is using that as the item to send to one of these entities for a decision-making process. So what I would submit is that over and over tonight, I have been misrepresented, not only here in this room, but to the public by virtue of how this agenda has put together. And it should concern all of us. I'm a local official who wants to represent you. I never waived my due process.
Quiet.
And that's important to recognize. It was missing in how we conducted this.
Okay, time. Before the rest, can I clarify something that Mr. Barham would like to speak?
And so would I.
I put that there and I wrote sample letter, and I just had ChatGPT make a sample letter that would be like, hey, here's a sample of what it would look like. I would not submit that letter, and that's why I said I think it should, because Mr. Schwartz is the one that wants to censure. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I was just like, what would it look like? So that would not be the letter that I would not be sending it, and it wouldn't be the letter that would be sent. Mr. Barham, and then Mr. Schwartz, do you want to go, or do you want Mr.
I'll let
Muller?
Mr. Schwartz
go
Okay,
ahead.
and then
No,
Mr.
you go ahead.
Schwartz,
I'm
and
going to
then.
go to the manager.
Okay, Mr. Barham.
I mean, the only thing the thing that really concerns me in this whole process is the misuse of public funds. That is the bottom line for me. And I would like to have the FCMAT come in because they will give us guidance in terms of the parameters that govern what is misuse of public funds. Because I believe that we need to determine that in this case. And in addition to that, I think we need to go backwards. Because I believe that there was misuse of public funds going back as far as back into the summer of 2024. And in terms, on that board at that time, there was no consensus in moving forward with the letter to the CDE, the CDE situation. And Mrs. Wiersma took it upon herself to talk to attorneys. There was no board direction in terms of that. At that time, she was warned by the community. She was warned by Mrs. Barclay. You can't just do what you want because this is your personal agenda or this is your political aspiration. You didn't agree. You didn't get board direction. We can't use district resources and district funds to do what we want to do. So that is why I am in favor of bringing in the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team, because I think that they will help us determine. They are an independent body. I mean, I have my own opinions. Mrs. Barclay had her opinions. Let an independent body come in and audit the charges and look at the footage, and let's see if there was
Time.
misuse of public funds.
Okay, time. Mr. Schwartz?
There's been a lot of talk about Nicole Miller and Associates, so I just want to read the conclusion of the report. I'm not going to go through what my statement that I put out on Facebook. I quoted directly from the report. I didn't make anything up. Every word I quoted was exactly what was in the report. This is the conclusion of the investigation. It's 53 pages. This is referring to someone just saying it was inaccurate. What? Oh, yeah. I've already, by the way, I spoke to Tony Thurman this morning, so this is an ongoing thing. We have a very good relationship. But the conclusion of the report is very simple, and I'm reading directly from it. In accordance with our findings, Nicole Miller and Associates did not sustain Ms. Wiersma's allegation of sexual harassment by Mr. Schwartz, nor was there evidence to suggest the district acted negligently in its response to her complaint. In consideration of the totality of the evidence, the investigation found concerns about the credibility of and motivation behind Ms. Wiersma's complaint that suggest her complaint may not have been made in good faith, or, at best, that she exercised poor judgment in publicly voicing and pursuing such an egregious allegation without sufficient basis. And I just want to add one more, just something that someone commented. Why did I get written statements when Mrs. Wiersma made her comment at a public meeting? I called my attorney immediately. I said, what should I do? I don't know what to do. I've been accused of something I didn't do. He said, who else was there? Were there other people there? I said, yeah.
I'd like to go.
Yeah, Dr. Komorowski.
Well, Mr. Thurman literally traveled to Temecula to publicly oppose board actions, conservative board actions, which makes this request for him to have any oversight, not just politically charged, but ideologically reckless from a conservative standpoint. I ran on local control and accountability. We have local control and accountability, and our leadership should be executed up here. Good or for bad, that is why we were elected. It should have stopped at the last meeting when the report came out, and the majority of the board said, let the public see the unredacted or the redacted report, whatever. It should have stopped right there. Any attempts to go beyond that is just going against local control. So that's number one. Misuse of public funds. Just one thing I'll identify, the $20,000 for the investigation. It's almost as if you guys are saying, Mrs. Wiersma wanted to do that. The board decided to do that. That is so reckless to say, let me give you an analogy. Yeah, that's like saying, hey, we're all going to go out to dinner. In fact, let's go out to a really expensive steak dinner. And the board goes, yeah, let's go. And then after the dinner's over, they go, you know what, Mrs. Wiersma, you're going to pay the bill. Had Mrs. Wiersma known that, or I, or any other board member knew that there were strings attached to that investigation, I would not have voted for that investigation. The strings attached is mind-boggling hypocrisy from this board. I cannot believe this. Had we known, it's like violating my consent as an elected official. We got together to say that we're going to do the investigation. We didn't get together and say, if this investigation doesn't go the way we plan, or it goes a certain trajectory, then we're going to do X, Y, and Z. None of that was talked about. Had it been talked about, going back to the dinner analogy, we might have said, let's not go to an expensive steak restaurant, let's go to Sizzlers, maybe the Costco food court, or maybe not even go to dinner at all to pay this bill. But this is where we are after the fact. To me, this reeks of retaliation against a board member. We as a board voted that in, not her.
Okay. So, and I want to point out that an investigation doesn't mean that anything is going to be conclusive. I mean, we're looking at the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistant Team to look at the big picture, and maybe they will say, like, exactly what Dr. Komorowski said. We haven't made any determinations. As a board, I don't believe that we can sit here and vote and say, like, Mrs. Wiersma needs to pay the district this amount of money back. I don't believe that we are functional. And so referring it out is just saying, like, what do we do with this? Here's where we are. What do we think? And like I said, we're not going to be here as board members forever, and we're going to have a change of board. So having the FCMAT come in and give us guidelines, so in the future board members that are here have a more structure on how to use district attorneys. I don't think that's going to hurt the community at all. Do we have any other comments on this? Mrs. Wiersma, 2 minutes.
I just have a question of clarification.
Uh-huh.
It seems that we just had the district abdicate their role in any of this, and it would seem a proposal like this would most fittingly come from an official institution looking for inquiry and direction. So if we left that by the wayside, and as you mentioned, everybody has some sort of bias or is a party of interest, how then would that move forward in a logical way to take to this entity whatever it's going to look like? Because it shouldn't be any of us individually. Mr. Schwartz already mentioned a relationship with Tony Thurman, so my question is, at this point, this doesn't even seem like a viable option for us.
So let me clarify. I'm asking the county to audit us as a board. I'm saying, come look at us. Like, look at what I've done the last 6 months. Like, what parameters can they put in place to help me as a board president for the next 6 months? Like, we're asking as a board to come and look at us and put parameters in place so we don't waste taxpayer dollars on civil matters.
But when you say a board, you released the board, which is within the district, of any further involvement.
No, I didn't. I released
how does
the district. I just said, I moved that the Board of Education referred. No, the previous one was that the district not have any more involvement paying money for this dispute between you and Mr. Schwartz.
But this entity would speak into the district,
No,
so how can it
this
go through a
doesn't have to
conduit
do.
of
This
one of us?
has to do with the future use of funds. Like, I'm not afraid to be audited, and I feel like if we are doing something wrong, we should find out about it. We should have the county come in and tell us, like, you guys are doing it wrong, because we are spending a lot of money on attorney's fees and different things like that. I'm not saying, we're not targeting you in this. Now, we're asking for the superintendent to come in and determine censure, because I don't believe we can make a decision as a board, and nobody else can really recommend censure except the county or state superintendent.
Then it is targeted. You're not looking at an overall picture. You're looking at coming after a board member. And further, I'd like Dr. Komorowski's viewpoint on whether you think an audit would be appropriate, because certainly an audit could be a good thing for any district. But is that our intent, or is it to continue with getting what you want to stand in terms of offering a censure? There's conflicting information that you're giving us. So
Well,
Dr. Komrosky, I would love to hear your opinion.
Mr. Schwartz is next, and I'm sorry if you don't understand the audit, but that's okay. Mr. Schwartz, you're next.
Yeah, I find it amazing that the fact that I like the state superintendent of education and I can talk to him is somehow negative. I don't understand why that's negative, and I never talk to him. I'm not talking to him about censoring anybody, because that's not within his purview. It's not within the purview of the state superintendent or the county superintendent to censure anyone on a board. That is the power, as Mrs. Alexander is shaking her head, that's the power of the board to censure itself. I already pulled away from censuring because I don't think it's going to be, I gave you my reasons for it. But in fact, having a fiscal audit of the district and what's going on, I don't see how that could hurt us. They will say, look, you're spending too much money on this or not enough money on that, and you should be focusing your money here, and I think that's a good thing. It's our money, it's all of your money, it's our kids' money, and I think we should be prudent with it as much as we can. So I welcome having that group come in and do an audit
So
for
can
us.
I ask you a question about this? Because that was my thing I didn't think that we should recommend censure. Do you want me to strike the language that the state superintendent, because you don't want censure at all anymore. Okay, so I'm taking it was recommend whether or not to censure, not to censure. No, yeah, and if you see what he can recommend censure, but I'm glad you don't want to censure. I don't want to do a censure, so we're crossing that out, and we are not going to censure. So I wrote determination of censure, and I'm going to cross that out. And then, so we don't have to talk about censure anymore. You wanted to speak on the audit?
Just the glaring straw man argument in the room. In this agenda, there's at least 3 times mentioned, Mrs. Wiersma touched on it before she was interrupted, and it says that she acted in bad faith. That's not what the report, the investigation concluded. It said may have. And that right there is possible libel, which can end up in litigation to this district. So it's it's just mind-boggling. We want to save money, but then there's possible libel. And that's a straw man, because the optics to the public is that Jen did act in bad faith because of you misagendizing this information, which is horrific. It's a straw man. So you beat up the straw man, but guess what? That's not what Jen said, and that's not what the report concluded. So this optic gets shoved up to Tony Thurman. It's just like, holy crap. I wonder how many people in the audience actually think that she did act in bad faith, and that was a conclusion of the investigation. And it's not. So all I'm doing is calling out to the leadership and your ability to agendize things properly, to not misrepresent a trustee. It's embarrassing. Did you hear what I said? Libel. That's what that is.
That's the $1 million question tonight, right? So anyways.
The $1 million question is your competence to lead this meeting and to not commit libel. It's just getting old.
Okay. So.
Stop straw manning and represent her fairly.
I just want to clarify, we don't have to talk about censure anymore, because Mr. Schwartz just clarified he's not going to move to censure Mrs. Wiersma. So we can move on from that subject, and we don't need to revisit it. I struck that from the comments, and now it's do we want to be audited?
Do you strike her acting in bad faith from your agenda?
That she acted in bad faith?
Yeah. Do you strike that? You did it 3 times, at least 3 times.
I believe she acted in bad faith.
You believe, but you concluded that the report, the investigation concluded that. You should have said, I believe, instead of the investigation concluded that. 3 times you did.
Okay, so let's go to.
I want to.
So do you guys want to?
I want to talk about the audit.
Let's talk about the audit.
I want to talk about the audit.
I don't know why we're not off subject. Let's do one more. So I made my 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You get 2 minutes and we're done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a finance guy. When I campaigned, I mean, all I talked about was safeguarding the assets of the district. I don't feel like they have been safeguarded very well. And that points to the past. And I believe that this assistance team, that it's very important that they come in, that they look at the footage as to what was going on in August and September of 2024 when the community and Mrs. Barclay were objecting to the fact that Mrs. Wiersma was on her own tangent, spending money with Mr. Brenner, thousands and thousands of dollars, when it was not within the scope and direction and consensus of the board at that time. And I think that this assistance team needs to come in and look at this current situation as well as that in the past, and maybe some other things, because they need to give us guidance as to what they need to give this board and future board guidance as to, and it's common sense. It's just like Dr. Komrosky, when he was the president, you could argue, okay, that he misused public funds. He really didn't, though, because he did not, because he did everything within the consensus of the board. She did not do that. She did not do that. She was doing her own thing and spending district resources and using district resources, and that is what needs to be looked into. And if it is determined that it is misuse of public funds, then Mrs. Wiersma needs to pay that money back. That's how I feel.
So the motion was made and seconded, and, thank you.
You also need to give me an additional time, but I'm happy to wait until after the public comment.
Did you get 2 minutes twice?
Go ahead.
You said that we would each have 2 minutes twice, but I'm happy to have the public go
Let's
first.
keep
Not a
let's
problem,
stay
but I need to come
consistent. No,
back
do your 2
to
minutes.
addressing these comments.
Did you? Okay, I thought you. I'm sorry, I didn't check my boxes. So you get 2 more minutes.
Let her do it. before
Yeah,
the
let's
comments.
do it now.
Yes.
We're gonna stay. She had 2 minutes twice. Yeah. I thought you had 2 minutes twice.
Did she? No.
Was it twice?
She had 2 minutes twice?
Yes. You did a 3 minute, and then we went to her. Came back around. Yeah, you had your 2 minutes twice.
Okay,
So
let's
we're gonna
move
go
on.
to public comments now.
On
Who is the first?
number 5.
Sorry, Jennifer San Nicolas, followed by Bob Cowell.
Did we vote on the audit?
We will after public comments.
Okay, gotcha.
After public comments.
So I appreciate Dr. Anderson's efforts to restore public trust in the board through the involvement of the county and state. Reviews and feedback from one or both of these agencies will provide valuable guidelines for this board to get back on track with the laws and norms that have been ignored or out and out violated over the last few years. Local control has been mentioned, but clearly the locals have no control, and that's what got us into this mess. This whole affair with Mrs. Wiersma is a culmination of the last 2.5 years of drama and the previous board majority's desire to break public education by bleeding it dry one lawsuit at a time. As board members, you have taken oaths to abide by the laws of the state and be stewards of public funds, and those who choose to run afoul of their oaths are the reason this board needs oversight and accountability. A good leader can admit where there is a weakness in an organization and move forward to make improvements to make an organization stronger than before. I strongly urge the board to use this travesty as an opportunity to create a better, stronger board by voting yes on this motion. Thank you.
Bob Cowell, followed by Kelly Maxey.
The majority of this board is disgusting to me. I can't say any more than that. You, Barham, Anderson, Schwartz, you're very disgusting people. That's my...
Point of order.
And the crowd over here, the heckles,
Point of order,
everybody, they're disgusting as well.
Him. He's not.
Who is this guy? Who is he? Does he live here?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't live here.
Who is he?
He's just.
Excuse me.
No,
I
don't
need a second.
Don't worry about it. No, he's fine. He's no one. Don't worry about it.
Kelly Maxey.
He's a supporter of Joseph and Jen. That's who he is. That's their supporters. So.
Oh, even though you went to an MTRA event? Well, look at the lies coming out right
Dr.
now. I mean,
Komrosky,
dude,
come
and the
on.
inconsistency. I love how you like those little jabs. Dude.
So next is Kelly.
Were you endorsed by the MTRA? Thank you.
Yeah, not by Bob Cowell. He's not my friend.
Wow, this meeting is wild.
I promise I won't be that rude as that guy, but I want to start by saying that I can't imagine that there are a lot of people in this community, or even in this room for that matter, that actually sat down to read the 54-page investigative report by Nicole Miller and Associates. I did. Like this meeting, it felt like flipping between a telenovela and an episode of Jerry Springer. And at the center of it all, Ms. Wiersma, is you, and it's always you. I hope the whole community reads it because it's absolutely maddening to see the waste, the dysfunction, and the self-serving behavior laid out in detail. Dr. Anderson, regarding action item 5, I am in agreement with both you and Mr. Barham. Today's issue is only part of a larger problem. Ms. Wiersma has repeatedly made decisions that squander our district's resources. I ask you to revise the request for state review and oversight of board conduct to include the broader pattern of fiscal waste and poor governance exposed by this and other instances. Examples are not hard to find. Ms. Wiersma was warned over a dozen times at the February meeting that today's issue was a civil matter, not something the district should pay for. She ignored the warnings, persisted anyway, and ended up costing our students $40,000. She has wasted over $100,000 in questionable legal fees tied to her personal fights. She wasted $21,000, probably even more, on CRT workshops, even though experts confirm CRT isn't taught in our schools. She wasted $361,000 to fire the previous superintendent without cause, a decision rooted in her personal agenda and not for student needs. Time and time again, Ms. Wiersma chooses political theater and performative outrage to stay relevant, and it comes at a real cost to our students and our schools. These examples alone total over $500,000. $500,000 taxpayer dollars, Ms. Wiersma. $500,000 that should be spent on our students and not on you. Frankly, Ms. Wiersma, you should be censured. You should also be held financially accountable to repay the amount that you have wasted. And if you cannot do the one job you are elected to do, which is responsibly serve our students and our schools, then you should resign.
That's the last one. So I rewrote this because things changed as we were discussing, and I rewrote the motion. I do want to ask, I was talking to Tony DeMarco. I texted him this morning, and I wanted to ask if I can read a letter, and maybe we should just read it right now, that he sent to the board. So I'm asking the board to consider that letter regarding Nicole Miller and Associates as not privileged.
Sure.
Do I have consensus, Mr. Barham, to read the? Okay, and then I'm going to let everyone know how the third-party investigation, how we ended up with Nicole Miller is we asked Tony DeMarco, who happens to be the conservative attorney that is working with Chino and Sonia Shaw defending parental rights and notification. He and Dean Adams and David Huff have all been working on this. If people think this is insane, so does everyone else. Like this, nobody's looking at this thinking that it makes any sense. I think everyone's pretty dumbfounded that our board is like going through this. That's been the reaction I've got. So we asked him to recommend a third-party investigator, and I knew that they were gonna. One of the defenses would be to call Nicole Miller and Associates into question. So let me just pull up that letter and read it, and that is from AALRR. It's from the attorney that Mrs. Wiersma fought for so hard. It's from Mr. DeMarco, and it defends Nicole Miller and Associates because she is a reputable third-party investigator. And I just want to make sure that we're not disparaging these companies. Let me just give me a second to pull that up. And the board has read this. The entire board has read this letter. And so they are aware that the law firms, including Dean Adams, we use Dean Adams through to work with Nicole Miller, but she was initially recommended by AALRR, and all 3 attorneys stand by her firm. Let me just find it real quick. Lene, do you have it? Or does anyone else have it? Because the whole board got a copy of it. But I foresaw slandering Nicole Miller and Associates as part of the defense, and so I have that. Here it is. Here we go. So I have board consensus. This is not privileged information. From Anthony DeMarco and Bill Diedrich, William Diedrich. They both stand by. You asked for a summary of why we recommended Nicole Miller and Associates, an investigative firm, to handle the complaint filed by one trustee against another trustee. My firm has worked with NMA and its predecessor firm, Tom Davis and Associates, for approximately 25 years. NMA and its principal, Nicole Miller, have an extensive background in working with California school districts and other public agencies. Nicole Miller has a law enforcement background, and she vets her investigators, employees, she vets her investigators, employs a professional writer to help her with reports, and has a business designed to cater to public agencies. NMA provides services to school districts on a regular basis through direct contracting, through insurance, JPAs, and each of the main law firms representing school districts. Almost everyone uses her. Compared to other investigators, NMA charges reasonable rates and does not overbill. Additionally, when NMA is working through my firm, she is quite collaborative in ensuring our expectations for quality investigation are met. So I just want everyone to know, she works with all of the attorneys that represent the boards in California. She has a stellar reputation. I asked for this letter because when I read the report, I too was a little surprised at the findings, and I immediately called Mr. DeMarco and asked for his opinion on Nicole Miller and Associates, and him and his firm stand behind her. So I just want to, as we slander these people that have been brought into all of this, I wanted people to know that that is a reputable firm, and that all of our attorneys, including the ones that Dr. Komrosky and Mrs. Wiersma fought so hard for us to hire, stand by the investigation. So with that, let me reread the motion because I crossed some stuff out. And it says, I think we should change the language to say, I move that the Board of Education requests that the county superintendent and/or state superintendent consider initiating a formal review by the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistant Team to evaluate the boards, it had districts, but I changed that to boards, to evaluate the board's governance practices, the use of public funds, and to issue recommendations for corrective action. Supporting materials, including investigation-related correspondence, board meetings shall be transmitted along with referral. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
I want to amend that motion.
Okay, what would you like it to mean?
I'm fine with all of this,
Uh-huh.
but I want a time frame on this. Like if they come in and audit, it's for a certain period of time, and that would be from January 1, 2024 through the present time.
You don't want to go back further?
No, we don't need to, because like I said, Dr. Komrosky spent, whether you agree with how he spent the money or not.
He did not misuse funds because he had the majority of the board.
He had the majority of the board. So I want to review the period of time starting January 1st, 2024, okay, which is 6 months before his recall. I want to review that period to the present time.
I don't know if we can, I think they should go back further to previous boards. I don't think we should just say like, maybe the misuse of funds has gone on, we shouldn't just target Mrs. Wiersma and have him only audit her. Why not look back a few years and see how the boards handled these types of situations prior to Dr. Komorowski and Mrs. Wiersma?
all I know is that period of time
Okay.
and what I saw.
And
I've actually looked at previous boards. I've watched all the meetings.
Well, then
from the time that Barbara Broach was president. I've watched them all. I don't think that there was
I don't know
misuse
if
of
we
fun-
can put a
But
time
we can
limit
do
on
that.
what they do.
Yeah, well, we have to put some kind of parameters on the audit, otherwise we're going to be spending a crap load of money. So that's why I'm suggesting that period of time, which I think is fair.
I
not
agree. I think it's too targeted, and the goal isn't to. For me, I really put this on here even for myself, because if I could go back in time on January 28th when the attorney said this is a civil matter, I would have never talked about it again.
So
It just
what-
dragged out
so
for
what
so
period
long.
of time do you think is
If I
fair?
could just,
How
go
long-
ahead.
what's a
How
compare-
far back can we go?
Like 3 years?
10 years, 20 years?
No,
30?
no, no.
I mean,
What about just?
I don't know.
What do you think?
What-
This is
I
all
would ask the- I would
unprecedented,
ask the-
everyone.
Just
Nobody
remember,
does this kind of
just remember by
stuff.
law, we are audited a minimum of one time every year.
Right.
Oftentimes, it's 2.5 audits for various reasons. The auditing of the district is already a matter of record. It's already in place. I think what you're looking at is maybe a procedural
Auditing the board. Okay.
which could be a combination of financial, but I think I'm hearing a procedural question that you have.
I have the words. Can I
my-
read the words to you, Mr. Barham?
Go ahead.
To evaluate the board's governance practices, use of public funds, and issue recommendations. So it's not to audit the district, it's to just audit the governance practices and the use of public funds. They're not gonna audit the whole district, but I think it wouldn't hurt to go back, like I said, to the previous board before Jen and Joseph were.
I understand that, but if there's a question of misuse of funds, as there was during that period of time, then I think that we need to direct the auditors to look at that period of time. I don't think that that's not a witch hunt or retaliation. That's,
I think he's right.
that is public knowledge.
Okay, so.
That is public knowledge.
let-
That was being questioned, okay, back in 2024. But we never did anything
But
about
out
it.
of fairness, and why? Okay, so if you're doing a scientific experiment, you need like a control group. So if we're only auditing Mrs. Wiersma, there's no
I'm not
control
saying to
group.
audit Mrs. Wiersma,
We're
but
only auditing
I'm
the
not
time frame
saying
that she was president.
No,
There's no
we're
control.
Dr. Komorowski was still the president January 1st of
Do
2024.
you want to go back starting with Komorowski?
Yes.
Can we go back one more year to see how
Go
it
ahead.
compares to
Not
the
a-
previous
not a
board?
problem.
So January 23, I think that it shouldn't just be
If this was a witch
targeted.
hunt, I would be singling him out, saying that he did things wrong, okay? All I'm saying is that if you look at the footage and you look at what was going on at that time, there were questions of misappropriation of funds.
I want to bring
Komorowski?
something
That's all I'm
up.
saying.
Yeah.
I need a couple of minutes. I want to bring something up. It relates to this.
Yeah.
When I was board president, there was an allegation that the majority of the board committed the Brown Act by Allison Barclay, and that costed almost 30 grand. She's here. Notice, at no time did the board say, after that was all done, hey, you got to pay for it. It's just what happened with the board.
Was that a
Analogously
civil
with
matter?
this, no,
Wait,
and
no,
that,
no, no.
that is a fact. We have money.
Well,
It was
can I ask
alleged.
you a
No, no, no,
question?
No.
I want to
No,
know,
no,
was that
you're
a civil
interrupting my
matter?
time,
I'm
and they're
asking.
interrupting me from
Oh,
speaking.
there's no more timer.
And it
I'm
relates to
asking,
this.
was that a civil matter?
No, but it analogously relates. There are sometimes side effects to doing board business. Yes, we love the students. We love protecting them. We love, offering all these great programs and doing all that. And at some point, sometimes district employees have to be investigated. At some point, there might be a civil matter. This is uncharted territory. But at no time are we like, hey, you're going to pay for this. And that's what you're doing here.
So
You're setting a precedent.
So my question is, I'm asking for them to
If
look
you're in a-
at,
go
stop,
ahead.
to look
I'm not
at the
bringing
board.
this up to shame Mrs. Barclay.
It
No
says-
doubt, I had to conduct an investigation with legal. It wasn't my choice. It was
Can
aimed
you
at
guys
us
listen to
under
this?
Dr. McClay. And when that investigation concluded the results, were like, there was no Brown Act. Okay, moving on.
Can you listen to this? It says, issue recommendations for corrective action. I'm looking at recommendations, so in the future, and that's why I don't want to target just when You guys, when did you take office, Dr. Komrosky? The
December 13th,
2024
2022.
January, it would have been December
December 13th.
December 13th.
2022.
Can we not just audit, two people? Can we, like, I'm sincere that I want to go back in time and I want to go forward and make a change and get recommendations so 5 years from now, this isn't happening anymore. That's my sincere plea. Like, let's look at what we're doing wrong and like change it. So I want them to issue recommendations. Do I have a second?
Second.
Lene?
Schwartz.
Yes.
Excuse me, we have public comment.
Oh,
Yes, before we vote.
We did.
we already had public comment.
There's no more on this?
We had public comment and then
And
I
we
had to
debated.
cross
Been a
out
long night. All
I
right,
know, I
all
know.
right. Just didn't know, okay.
But this is, every attorney has said, this is unprecedented.
It feels
People
long.
don't even know what to do with this. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm doing my best. So let's just vote. Lene, call roll.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Wiersma.
Because of the lack of clarity here, I need to ask what I need to do to vote present. Because at this point, it's really not clear to me that the goal isn't targeted. And Dr. Woods has just said we have audits every year. So to spend additional time or money pursuing this doesn't seem right. So I'd like to mark present because there's been too much confusion for me to definitively make a decision.
Mrs. Wiersma, I think you could vote no, and that would, if you feel like you're confused, I think it would be better to vote no because there's not enough information for you. I am trying not to target you. And this board can't come, this FCMAT, like whoever looks, if they look into it, we're asking them to, they may say no. They're not going to be able to say that you have to reimburse the district. That is not their place. They're going to say, going forward, if I get told it's a civil matter, I need to not keep asking questions, or Gary, or even with you yourself, they may make a recommendation to you. If you get told it's a civil matter, we all have to drop it and that we can't push it through the district. They're going to make recommendations. That's it. And maybe they'll find other stuff that we're like not doing right. I'm not trying, this one, I am just trying to, my language is strong. You'll see my policies, everything I write is heavy-handed. Including this, including my policy on graduation. I always come off heavy-handed. I like the discussion. We're not trying to target you. So if you want to vote no, I think that would be your best course of action. I think it's going to pass with a 4-1 or 3-1 or 3-2. So do you want to just vote no since you don't know?
I think based on the clarification with Dr. Woods and understanding that we do have a yearly process, I will vote no.
Okay.
Komrosky.
No.
Okay.
Barham.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes. So the motion passes 3-2. The resolution to censure has been removed. We don't have general public comments.
I want to recess.
We're done.
Just give me, I want 3 or 4 minutes.
There's
Recess.
board comments, but I would agree. I would like a 5-minute.
Thank you. Okay.
break.
Yeah, we'll take 5 minutes, everyone, and then board comments. right, we have a quorum. So we're going to finish up with board comments. Okay, I'm not giving board comments. So, Mrs. Wiersma. Steve, do you still...
Okay, 4 minutes.
I'm going to ask to go second to last. I know Steve already asked for the final.
You're first, you're second, third, fourth. I'm not giving comments. And are we doing it twice? Am I putting 4 minutes? No. No. And Mr. Barham would like 4 minutes. Would you guys all like 4 minutes?
It's fine.
Okay, ready? You're okay, hold on. Let me get 4 minutes. He's not ready. Camille's first. Okay, first.
You want me to go first?
Third, fourth. I'm not giving
I can go first.
ready?
Go. First, I would like to address Pastor Tim Thompson of the 412 Church and head of the IE Family PAC, better known as the Inland Empire Family PAC. I called you and left a message on Wednesday, June 11th at approximately 1 o'clock in the afternoon and followed up with a text at 1:28. In my voicemail, I said, our TVUSD board is struggling, particularly in the area of parental rights, which everyone knows you are passionate about. We need your help. Did I hear back? Of course not. And I did not expect to, but thought I would give it a try. About a week ago, Pastor, you put a post on Instagram criticizing other pastors, asking where they are going now, where they are going to hide now regarding 501c3s. My question to you is, where have you been hiding for the last 2.5 years? Your past and recent actions, ignoring a body of evidence and conclusions made by an independent third-party investigator against a board member because of personal alignment, and dismissing another, myself, who reached out to you for help, has created division in both the church and school community. You cannot choose when you want to engage. You recently called yourself a spiritual leader in an email you sent this board on another matter last month. Where is your leadership? For years, even before being elected here, I have sat back and watched the author of confusion manifest himself in the two members and many of their flying monkeys. How does the manifestation appear? Through entitlement, arrogance, grandiosity, delusion, anger, bullying, cowardice, toxicity, abusiveness, meanness, lying, codependence, manipulation, name-dropping, unpredictability, fear, harassment, intimidation, aggressiveness, maliciousness, deliberate sowers of discord and division, selfishness, backbiting, deception, moral and fiscal responsibility, cruelty, dramatic gaslighting, and victim mentality. In addition, your discernment and endorsements of these strong and effective leaders, that's what you said on December 13th, 2022, let's give them a chance. Well, to you and a few more groups out there, I think we've given them enough of a chance for them to show that they are weak and ineffective leaders who have brought forth a level of incompetence that I find staggering. CRT, parental notification, flag policy. These two board members were unable to get these policies across the finish line competently, and unfortunately, at a cost that I project will be in the millions of dollars to our hardworking taxpayers and the students of TVUSD. No excuses. This is shameful. I lay this, Pastor, at your feet to reflect upon. I have a few scriptures for you to sincerely help you. 2 Timothy 2:4, Romans 14:19, and 1 Peter 5:2-3, because these verses seem to be in opposition to your actions. When politics overshadow the gospel, and not that politics shouldn't be a part, the mission suffers. At TVUSD, I know there are many who urge you as a pastor to refocus on Christ's calling and lead in a way that promotes God's kingdom and not your personal and political agenda. For you two, there's only one saying that comes to mind. You can perfect your image, but you cannot fake your fruit.
It is time for the two of you to do the honorable thing by immediately resigning your positions and allowing this board and district to continue in the good work we have started. You two are deterrents and liabilities to that good work. It's time to move on, and this community at large has had enough. Please go.
Time.
Checkmate.
Hey, point of order, you guys. Next. Hey, come on, you guys. Next is, who was second? Dr. Komrosky, you're number 2.
Wow. Mr. Barham, I have scripture for you, young man. 1
I'm older
Corinthians
than you.
13. If I speak in tongues of men or of angels, but I do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanking cymbal. That is you, sir. If I have the gift of prophecy and I can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but I do not have love, I am nothing. That is you, sir. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. I rebuke you. You are a Christian brother, and it's time that you were rebuked. We're not perfect, we're just forgiven. But for you to suggest that we resign, how about the Uno reverse card? You resign. The other thing is, I just want to make it clear that when Dr. Anderson said, that's Joseph and Jen's friend, Bob Cal, that walked out for MTRA, that person was the president of MTRA that you, in fact, asked for an endorsement. It's just mind-boggling, the lies of omission. I'm just going to be honest. I've met one person in my life that was a pathological liar. He was my ranger buddy in Ranger Battalion. It was absolutely bizarre. I didn't even know what a pathological liar was. When we figured out that my battle buddy was lying, not just about big things, little things, all the time, lying every day. Dr. Anderson, that is you. That is why I find you untrustworthy. You have lied so many times to me and Mrs. Wiersma, one time with Dr. Woods on the phone. I triangulated you, and you, in fact, lied. So the gaslighting is times 1,000. And all I'm saying, Emil, is you are forgiven just like me as a brother in Christ. If you want me to resign, you resign with me. How about that, pal? But here's the thing. I ran as a conservative, and I am not forsaking who I was endorsed by. You asked Pastor Tim for his endorsement from the IE Family PAC, and he said no. That is why your butt hurt up
correct.
here. Yeah, I'm sorry. It is absolutely correct.
That is not correct. And I will
then
correct
why
the
did you
record
interview with the IE Family PAC?
Because I didn't know any better.
Yeah, just to waste
That's
time.
why.
Just to waste time.
What about Jessica Alexander?
That being said, you called Jessica Alexander and asked for her endorsement as well.
No, you didn't.
But I'm still talking. Still got my time. I'm going to go back to local control. I can say what I want. It's my First Amendment right. You will not stifle me. Your dictatorship is on display. If you don't know how to act as a president, you can not only step aside as president, you can resign. This was the most reckless meeting I could possibly imagine, and everybody got to witness it. Your leadership. I don't know how many times you misagendize things. My name should be on something it's not. My name's on something and it shouldn't be. Even tomorrow's item was Zotero. It's to be on action item. It's on information reports. It's so bad that I wonder if it's just incompetence. Literally, I'm concerned about your mental health. This is not a character attack. This is what I've had to endure from you. Then you attack my family. You attack my wife, my father-in-law, my campaign manager, my map maker, all this kind of stuff. Don't ever think I forgot about that. You are not without sin as well. You claim you're a Christian, you might be forgiven as well. But guess what? If you want to sit up here and run the meetings as such and target her with a witch hunt, you're going to have repercussions from this community, both of you. You ran as conservatives, you're doing anything but. You're consulting Thurman, who's best friends with Steve, who campaigned against us. This is unbelievable, and it's not conservative, and I'm calling you out.
Okay, time. Point of order.
That's it.
Point of order. The next person was Mrs. Wiersma and then Mr. Schwartz.
To the best of my ability, I've built my trusteeship on speaking truth and serving as a principled voice for the people. I have consistently advocated for parental rights, educationally suitable materials, and neutral classrooms while protecting children. As an elected official and a person of faith, I do strongly dispute the findings and the handling of the recent investigative report. From the point of legally filing my uniform complaint, I asked the district leadership to facilitate a meeting with the respondent and the president of our board behind the scenes without spectacle. I was denied. After the workshop, I asked for professional mediation with proper legal oversight. I was denied. In good faith, I participated in an investigation which some have now suggested to me was a kangaroo court designed to fix this for the district. The biased idea that I submitted a uniform complaint because I wasn't elected president, did not have my preferred seating on the dais, or was avenging the track record of unprofessional behavior by the respondent is outrageous conjecture. Is this where the cover-up becomes worse than the crime? A new affidavit confirms the fact this report is not complete. In a recent social media post, the respondent insisted the report findings were conclusive after refusing to recuse himself in a majority vote to release it. Where was my due process found? It wasn't spoken to in a legal letter. I never waived my right to confidentiality in the investigation. Every board member should be afforded the right to a discrimination-free environment devoid of both religious bigotry or any form of sexual harassment. As a result of coming forward regarding my colleagues' vulgar slang and inappropriate comments towards me at the California School Board Association meeting, I have endured a high level of institutional retaliation designed to harm me both personally and politically. Fully expecting our board president to corroborate my statement in the workshop as a result of our brief discussion after the incident, I have been targeted and smeared as the perpetrator. This flawed process sets a terrible precedent for every female student and woman at TVUSD who needs help. School districts absolutely must prioritize integrity, victim protection, and public trust by ensuring that AB 1078 is followed to avoid intimidation, bullying, and discrimination based on religion or gender within all school activities, the local educational agency, and all acts of the governing board. Moving forward, I will continue advocating for this community that I love with resilience and purpose. I will never back down fighting for truth and principled policy that protects women, female students, and all future trustees. God bless you and your family. And to those of you that are here tonight, I thank you for being a part of this process.
All right, Mr. Schwartz.
Good evening, President Anderson, fellow trustees, members of the community, and parents. I have served this district with integrity, transparency, and a deep commitment to our students, teachers, and families for 5 years. Before joining this board, I served as an educator in New York City for 35 years, and 5 years when I moved to California at Mount San Jacinto College, retiring with an unblemished record. I have remained mostly silent while I was publicly accused of something I did not do. Today, with the truth confirmed by an independent investigation, I want to speak plainly. To investigate these allegations, the district hired Nicole Miller and Associates, a respected, independent investigative firm with over 25 years of experience working with California school districts and public agencies. Nicole Miller has a law enforcement background, vets her investigators carefully, and employs a professional team that delivers fair, high-integrity work. Every one of Trustee Wiersma's requests was honored. Her interviews were conducted in person. They were recorded and handled exactly as she asked. And yet, even after the initial investigation cleared me, she insisted the district itself be investigated, wasting even more time and taxpayer dollars. That second investigation also found no wrongdoing by the district. The final report clearly stated that Mrs. Wiersma's complaint raised concerns about her credibility and her motives, and that her complaint may not have been made in good faith. That is not my opinion. That is the factual conclusion of a professional, neutral investigator. And while I was being falsely accused, I received emails calling me names I won't repeat here, messages from people using fake email addresses who didn't even have the courage to stand behind what they said. When I tried to reply, every single message bounced back. They wanted to attack me, but did not want to give me the opportunity to speak the truth. This has been painful, personally, emotionally. It has impacted my family and our community. And now, instead of taking responsibility, Mrs. Wiersma is recruiting people who do not live in our district, like Bob Cowell, who have no children in our schools, and who have no stake in this community, to come here and speak on her behalf. Let me be clear. This is no longer a matter of opinion. The facts have been investigated and reported. The truth is public and conclusive. I did nothing wrong. The accusation was false, and it came from someone whose intentions have never been to strengthen the district. Mrs. Wiersma's actions have repeatedly cost this district money and trust. The CRT revolution, which she supported, cost the district $50,000. Mrs. Wiersma, your job on this board is to serve the students and families of this district, not to use your seat as a platform to push your political ideology. You often speak about your Christian faith and quote scripture. Let me quote some scripture. Proverbs 12:22. The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy. I ask you now, have your actions honored these words? If you truly believe your own words, you must take responsibility. You must resign. My attorney and I are still considering civil action against you.
Do you want me to use the official? This meeting is adjourned today at Monday, July 21st at 8:26 p.m.